of his claims.
Okay.
I want to believe, you know.
Wait 1 second. We're live everywhere but YouTube. I need to click this button. You can check your thingy if it's live. Your YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me check it.
I'll open up it as well. Maybe it might show up automatically because it should be. Yeah, YouTube Benefactor. I don't know. Or might be have to press the button again. Now I just gotta. You can see my screen, okay? And okay, we're live now.
Yep.
Yeah, we're live.
We are live. Yep.
Okay, what does that sound? Oh, that was from your.
That was that was an ad. Sorry.
Oh, that's good. No, that's great. Yeah, I'm gonna do. Let's add it. I'm gonna play this.
Oh, my lawyer got.
Okay, so everything's working. I'm gonna start recording, and it's recording now. All right, so we're recording, and yeah, let's power through this notes right here. And yeah, so Benefactor from Beneficence TV is back on the show. All right, how are you? And yeah, how are things? I'm just gonna type to people. Can y'all hear us? So far, I don't know who else in the chat. We had 3 people. Can y'all hear us?
So I'm doing well, and I can hear you on my end.
Okay,
can everybody hear me?
Yeah, it should be good. I'll have the chat open just in case anybody asks and so on. But yeah, so yeah, good to have you back on the show. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just do the usual intro. I didn't have the time to make a trailer. Even the thumbnail, I just used the old one. Just super busy, mainly with the Claude. Okay. Or Rotary Matrix says yes, audio is good. Okay, epic stuff. And let me know if it's too loud or too low and so on, so I can adjust it. All right. Okay. Then Drew Trustcut is Yippers. Okay, we have him. He's also an experimenter and so on. Yeah, we can actually cover his stuff. I'll open up your stuff a little later if we have some time in the chat. He has some designs, and he was working also with AI to get some free energy jazz. All right, so MES livestream 139. Beneficence TV gives updates on its radiant energy research. So Benefactor from Beneficence TV joins the show again to give updates on his ongoing research and experiments into wireless radiant energy. And then I think we have. I want to make. Actually, I'll do that later. Future guest. So, oh yeah, you're gonna join the 9/11 live stream, right? Yeah, on September 11th.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I definitely want to join that because I think some of my research plays right into Judy's wheelhouse, and
Yeah.
John Hutchinson.
Yeah. So what's interesting is so we'll have Dr. Judy Wood's gonna be there. Andrew Johnson's gonna be there. Keith, aka Conspiracy Realist. Chris Shack, Mystic Bazaar, KJ French 9/11 guy. Oh, I should put you as well. Yeah. And then also possibly Richard Hall. Like, you know Richard Hall?
I do not know Richard Hall. Who is he?
He's the he's a UK guy that's currently like he did a documentary about the Ariana Grande 2017 like a false flag. And then he got sued by like BBC, BBC I mean by the families of the alleged event. And then basically he had to like he had to go in bankruptcy, I think he's like had to sell his house, so now just for making a documentary. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's smear campaigns that they'll put out.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of shady stuff that they'll do if they don't want information out there other than just straight up attacking you. There's a whole plethora of there's a whole playbook basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna just quickly add this in here. And Benefactor. I'm gonna put Richard Hall and also Benefactor. 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 All right, put that there. Yeah, so you'll be joining it. That'll be pretty epic setup there. Yeah, I'll be joining the stream. And the other part, like, do you know the guy from future guest Ty from the Disclosure Project? He may join an MES live stream soon, but now he's ignoring my chat again. You know the Total Disclosure Project on YouTube?
I'm not I'm not familiar with it.
All right. We'll anyways, we'll skip over to that. And also, I want to, in case John Hudson's listening in, yeah. So he had emergency earlier this week, and then he just had surgery, I think, last night. So hopefully, Captain John is doing well. So I'll have that in the random notes. We'll cover that later when we have some time or some downtime. So yeah. So anyways, so how are you? And I put some notes in here. I'm gonna just send this to the audience if they want to cover it. But yeah. So you can take it from here if you want to go ahead, and because you had a live stream yesterday as well. I put a link to that. That's pretty interesting.
Yes, I appreciate it. Yeah, we had a interactive mini lab last night. Simply because like I like to try to do as much of my research live on camera to document it along with kind of showing everybody the discovery process in real time. I think the process is important to document as well. It gets people excited and enthusiastic about potentially doing their own experiments. So we had a lot of positive results. I had some predictions, and all of them were completely 100%. They came true. So we found a resonant pulsed waveform in my new circuit, the impulse driver circuit that I've been designing myself, which is supposed to be kind of like an upgrade to the Jewel Thief, in the sense that it has more versatility. The Jewel Thief circuit is a self-oscillating circuit, right? It's a self-feedback loop. So it kind of like just sits into a natural resonant frequency based on the length of the coil. So I wanted a little bit more versatility. I wanted to be able to change the frequency because, as you know, if you studied Malcolm Bendel's work with plasmoids, cavitation creates the structured plasma, and then the frequency is used to manipulate that plasma. So we want to be able to manipulate the system in a more, versatile way. So I've been developing the impulse driver, which utilizes a pulse width modulator, and you can input a specific frequency. And it was my prediction that at certain frequencies, we would find those three defining characteristics of the resonant pulsed waveform found in the previous circuit. And this is something we found. We found the three defining characteristics at certain frequencies. And we found even more interesting things. We probed the system with a grounding probe this time instead of just floating it. And even the pulse was very unique at specific frequencies. It just displayed this very unique symmetry, almost like it was reflecting off of itself in a very even way. But when you zoom in, there's a lot of chaos. So these are characteristics of the resonant pulsed waveform that we did find in another system. So it's not proof that the synthetic AC model is 100% accurate, but it is evidence to support the model further. And as we, do these experiments and run them through the model, every time the model has proved itself to be a useful tool in explaining what the hell is going on with these coils. And if the model pans out, then we've successfully demystified the rodent coil, in my opinion. For years, the rodent coil has been this producer of unique phenomenon and kind of connected to the esoteric teachings of vortex-based math. But, as an electrical engineer, it's been a real challenge to try to translate those, principles of VBM into standard engineering practices. So that's kind of the bridge that we're trying to, close here, or the gap that we're trying to close, the bridge that we're trying to provide between the esoteric and, the mainstream engineering practices.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, also Chris Shack is in the in the chat. Hi, Chris. But yeah, I won't say that. But yeah, so I missed this part in your live stream. You want to walk us through exactly what's going on here? Because you have that pulsed waveform and you're zooming in live. I do like the setup that you have, literally, and you have the phone camera right there on it. That's great stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of like a makeshift, but it worked, I guess. In capturing what was necessary in documenting the RPW. And like you can see, if you compare it to the previous video that we've went over, the classic RPW from the Lightning Thief, that video has far fewer nested harmonics. Look at all of these. There's not just tertiary and fourth, there's like fifth and sixth, and all these different nested harmonics are all crammed into that, but you pause it and it's just one signal reflecting off of itself in a very chaotic manner. And then you zoom out and you get this kind of pattern emerging as a smooth sine wave, or a somewhat smooth sine wave, right? And that smooth up and down motion is indication to me that the energy transfer is happening efficiently, because we've hooked up different kinds of coils to the same system. And we've hooked up a classic pancake coil to the same circuit, and it showed some of the same characteristics, but it was a bell-shaped curve. And this system with the pancake coil is far less efficient than the vortex coil, indicating that misshapen sine wave, that bell-shaped curve, is indication of less efficiency in the system. So what I was doing was I was trying to find the frequencies that produced the smoothest sine wave on the macro, while also producing the largest right side band on the microscale. So if we go back to the three defining characteristics of the RPW, the resonant pulsed waveform, the first defining characteristic is on the normal scale, the default scale of the oscilloscope. We'll see all these nested harmonics like you see now. This is actually a little bit more zoomed in to the micro scale. But as we zoom into the micro scale, we'll see that 0-point convergence, where it's kind of like a pinch point and huge energetic sideband activity on either side of that pinch point. And if we zoom all the way out, we'll see it kind of like a rectify into a smooth sine wave. And those are the three defining characteristics. Now, there is a fourth characteristic, and that is no matter where you probe the system with a floating probe, you'll find those three defining characteristics. And that's indication to me that there's some kind of unity going on between all the components in the system. There's a complete synergy between the forward pulse and the backward recovery pulse in a way that most systems just can't handle because the geometry of their coil is inefficient. And it's not producing that field cavitation effect that I believe is happening. So you see all that thick. So the main signal is just what's in the middle. Those thick edges, those are all the harmonics that are bouncing off of that single signal. That's amplification, and it's massive. Like I have a very high speed oscilloscope. It's one of the most expensive you can buy on Amazon, and it was having trouble catching up with this kind of signal. It was just going so chaotic, but it's very unique in the way that it kind of rectifies into that smooth sine wave. At specific frequencies, though, it's kind of like misshapen and flat. Like there's not enough, like indicating there are certain nodes that you can get maximum resonance, right, or harmonics of that resonant frequency. So it's very interesting. We have a lot more to document regarding the system because of its versatility. We can change the duty cycle. We can change the frequency. We can even add dual frequencies in order to, and the whole point of this is to study these waveforms and see if we can gauge if the system is achieving more efficiency or less efficiency depending on these characteristics. And I believe that we can kind of gauge the efficiency this way and bypass that instantaneous power integration mathematical equation that we inevitably have to apply to our system, but I haven't been able to because I need to buy a high-speed current probe, and those are expensive. So until I can buy that probe, I'm trying to gauge the efficiency and see which frequency is going to produce the most efficiency out of the system. And one way that we can do that is by looking at these characteristics and comparing them, to a control, say a pancake coil.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a lot more of experiments in the future, but this just adds a lot more evidence to the synthetic AC model, and all my predictions about this system were 100% accurate. And I'm so happy that we discovered this and documented it.
That's good. I want to ask, so you're in this video, that experiment, what are you tinkering with right there looks like you're doing something with you're adjusting the frequency of, or just explain that just because, I haven't, just simplified a bit for me. So what are you doing?
What I'm adjusting is, and I'll usually have my hand behind my back, my one hand, because that's a good rule of thumb when doing experiments with any kind of, potential high voltage, is just to have one hand behind your back so you minimize the potential of,
Looks like you're doing, you're lifting your leg up there. It looks like you're lifting your leg out. You're doing some stretches.
Well, you paused it at the wrong moment, sir.
Are you scratching your
You might as well pause it while I was scratching my ass.
I'm like, are you adjusting the frequency there? What are you...
He pauses it while I'm scratching my ass, like, what are you doing there?
What's the frequency of that one?
Okay. No, so what we're doing?
Yeah, what are the knobs?
What we're doing is just
tinkering or that.
Well, no, what I have is a PWM, is a pulse width modulator attached to the circuit, and that allows me to adjust the frequency up to, I think, 150 kilohertz which is very high compared to the lightning thief system. Just has
Mm-hmm.
one frequency that you can set it at. It's its natural resonant frequency. So
And these are
we
all
can go up to
pulse.
150
Yeah,
kilohertz.
but so this frequency just we're referring to the actual pulsations, like the on and off of it.
Yes, it's a pulse. It's it's a square wave basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can change the waveform, but it's not going to be a smooth sine wave coming out of there like a stereo amplifier. So what we're doing is we're pulsing at specific frequencies and looking at the waveform and also adjusting the duty cycle, because the power factor also, like the amount of power you're putting into your system, there's a threshold. And you don't want too much and you don't want too little at specific frequencies. It could be too much and oversaturate it with too much harmonics, and then you just have a bunch of interference instead of it being like a coherent waveform that's transferring the energy efficiently. It's almost like at specific frequencies you might get somewhat of a resonance cascade where the resonance just keeps building with nowhere to go. As you know, like
Yeah.
we've seen in most jewel thief circuits that just are underutilized on their output. They make that loud ringing noise. That's that's wasted energy,
Oh,
obviously.
okay.
um
That's a good sign. Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna ask about this.
Yes.
Yeah. It says 5 ms. That's milliseconds, or what's? If you could just the units here, because this is zoomed out. So basically, it's all like all the harmonics are crammed together.
Yeah, so that's a very
Yeah, but what's this
high
milliseconds?
resolution right there.
So that's 5 milliseconds. What does that refer to? Each square, or what is
That's
that?
the time slice. Yeah, I believe that's each square unit.
Okay, so
It's a slice of time.
so yeah,
And
this
I
part
don't
here.
remember.
This part here, it just are you zooming in slowly? Because it looks like you could see them, but it doesn't show the.
So that right there, I'm just changing the frequency.
Oh, this is just frequency.
I'm not
Oh, still
yeah,
5 milliseconds. Okay, still
if
5.
I reach over to the oscilloscope, that means I'm changing the oscilloscope resolution and zooming in.
Okay.
But right now, I'm just changing the frequency. You see how much it
Yeah.
amplifies at certain frequencies compared to others. And notice the different kind of edges on that amplification. Like it's almost like it's too much interference at certain frequencies. It's fuzzy.
Yeah. So this is what I want to ask. Yeah, so you're changing the frequency there. So this one is what's the difference between this one and this one? Because it's the same oscilloscope view.
Yeah, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I kind of try to document this as I'm going by, telling people, oh, this is this frequency on the live stream, but I'm not 100% accurate when I'm remembering this stuff after the fact. But I believe that was the range that we got, like a dead zone. So we got a lot of amplification starting from like 3 kilohertz all the way to like 10 kilohertz. But as we reached like 20 kilohertz, that line started to flatten out, and then it started to thicken again all the way up at like 40 kilohertz. And at 60 kilohertz, we got something really interesting on the micro scale, zooming into the 0-point convergence zone, the pinch point. I've never seen anything like that. That was interesting, and I'd like to explore that frequency range again, because again, like, this system is more versatile. We've never been able to input that high frequency into this kind of pulse system before. I've been able to do it maybe 25, I think, kilohertz or 20 kilohertz is the cutoff for most frequency generators apps that we've put into the stereo amp. So even the stereo amp, we haven't been able to get that high in frequency. And like, there are harmonics to that resonant frequency, and as you go up in harmonics, as you go up in frequency, your gains start to increase exponentially. But you have to tighten your tolerances of your system a lot more. So it's a lot harder to get those higher frequencies in your system stable.
Okay, and another question I have is see that second line that it looks like it's amplified. What is that line there referring to?
Oh, that second line, that's just the second probe.
Okay.
I don't know if I have it hooked up to anything. Sometimes when it's just sitting there, though, it will pick up the residual magnetic field of the coils, because the coil's so strong. I can have that probe sitting like fucking 5-10 feet away, and it'll still like move it a little bit on the scope. So it's just kind of like the second scope that's not hooked up to anything, just sitting there picking up some kind of like manipulation of the field that's going on. Because when you change the frequencies and you're pulsing it on and off, you can get spikes that are larger than the overall continuous energy that's going into your output. So you know, those are things that you want to pay attention to along with everything else as well. So that's important to note, you know, where you're getting those spikes and where you're seeing them and how often they're happening, if they're happening at all.
Yeah, I just want to point out. So this is the live stream that you're on your channel of the same one we're having right now. So for when I open this up, I thought the thumbnail was you and me there. I'm like, I have a mustache and hair now.
That's supposed to be John Bedini.
I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah. All right.
That's funny.
And also speaking about John Bedini, so I put a comment here. One of my subscribers messaged me on X. And he said this. He was calling Bedini motor controlled opposition. I want to get your thoughts on this. Look what he says here. I just said.
He said what?
He thinks the Bedini motor is controlled opposition. This guy that's usually on my stream.
Controlled opposition. Define that for me.
Well,
what does that mean?
I'll read what he said. He'll use a screenshot. I didn't want to show his name because again this stuff's beyond me. So he says, "Hey, that Bedini motor thing," because he's the one who actually told me to buy the Bedini motor, and I bought a little Bedini motor thing. And now he's saying, hey, the Bedini motor, I think that was all controlled opposition. The entire energy from vacuum series, never once mentioned Dr. Judy Wood for one. What's this energy from vacuum series? Is that a Bedini setup?
So yeah, that's Tom Bearden and John Bedini, and you know, they're going over different free energy theories and devices and stuff. If you want to know anything about the Bedini motor, that's the series that you're going to want to go to.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be
I want to finish reading it, then we'll go. Just clarity. Well, just because I want to get your thoughts because the guy's sending me this stuff. He says, second, there's a team of 50 of us researching and attempting to replicate this for years without success. Further, I understand hypocrisy when science accepted Einstein's duality as real science. The series used that logic to build its case, so it's using Einstein's duality or something. So the discovery of the ether was hidden with Michelson Morley. Okay, anyways, yeah, it's a bit out there.
I mean, if you want to really learn how to build a Bedini motor, I would contact Kevin at kenergy.store because he built mine and the one that you have, and they're flawless. Like, I've looked at the waveform; they're exactly what Bedini. Like, I've watched the energy from the vacuum series in full, and I've clipped different bits, you know, for my research. And I've looked at the waveform and compared them to Kevin's waveform that we get on our oscilloscope. It's identical. In fact, it's really a really nice H wave. And we have documented evidence that it does what it's supposed to do. It runs cold, it charges your fucking battery, and it conditions it. And I'm like halfway into the conditioning process of one battery, and it's already showing signs that it's more efficient than the standard battery that I have. I have two identical batteries, you know, and the one is showing like it's hanging at a shelf now, you know, like a high voltage shelf. It was hanging at 12.85 volts on my system for like 3-4 hours before it started to go down continuously per hour. Now, the other battery just goes down per hour. It doesn't hang at a shelf. These are all indicators, you know. We can't just dismiss this stuff. This is evidence, and this is right. And this is exactly, if you listen to Bedini, this is exactly the effect that he was describing in a successfully conditioned battery. You're going to have a shelf. You're going to have a system that is able to charge a battery without the temperature going really above ambient, like maybe 1 or 2 degrees above ambient, depending on your thermal, you know, tolerances in your system. But
yeah, I
again,
buy,
you know, like,
because I bought this one here on Amazon last year. I have it in the back there. I think I've shown you this one here. This one, it was just a Bedini.
Oh, that's nice, the acrylic one.
Yeah, it was nice. You could. It is pretty.
But again, I don't think it's an accident that Bedini described his magnetic rotary, as being a magnetic monopole, right? Like, it might not be the same kind of field cavitation effect we see in our system, but maybe it is a similar effect of cavitating that field in some way, right?
There's another
because
comment.
That's what you would see.
Go on.
I was just gonna say that's the effect that you would see if field cavitation pans out to be a true effect. You're gonna see a magnetic monopole because it's gonna be pinching those two poles together and create one superpole, and that's exactly what we see at certain frequencies in our system.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and the other thing I just realized. I posted again. What I hate is like anonymous people sending me messages that are. This was actually before I talked to you. This is apparently Eric Dollard claims that John Bedini is a fraud. Is that true? This guy is saying Dollard accuses Bedini of being fake, and that magnets cannot be used.
I would
I don't
ask
know what the hell this.
Grok or someone about ask AI about that, because for one, even if it is true,
Yeah,
people
it
have the
always
right to make mistakes, right? You know, I've had mistaken ideas and opinions about things in the past. You know, and
yeah.
people have the ability to change those opinions over
Yeah.
time too. So
But I do
I
want to
just think
buy
it's
this one.
irrelevant.
No, it is, but I do
In
want to
the
buy
long
this
run,
one
it
here,
to
this
me,
KJ one. Like I want to buy one that because like what I just want to buy
I
one.
believe that's the one I have.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have this one? Because he said it's
I believe that's
experimental.
the one I have.
Like I just want to
Yeah.
go in and then charge up my battery because I do know for sure like the Bedini slash Jewel Thief setup. It's very practical. It's like you can literally get energy out of batteries.
Oh, it's very small too.
Yeah.
And while you're charging your system and conditioning your batteries, you can have a fan blowing. If it's, you know, you don't have like it's you're doing work while you're charging a battery. That's pretty cool. Like that's a pretty cool system
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this here. Buy. I want to buy this so when I get some bit of cash. Buy. K. What is it? KJ. What was that thing?
Kenergy.store.
Okay, energy. Bedini motor. I want to just like I want to initially get to just practical things. Like I don't want to be. I want to get my old battery, charge it up, or somehow however, or being able to use it for stuff because I absolutely hate batteries that are like literally like half done, but you can't use it because half is not enough to power like a lot of devices.
Right, but a fully conditioned battery using the Bedini motor, that halfway point is still going to output its
Yeah.
full potential.
Oh wow.
Right? So it's the way a Bedini conditioned battery works, a negatively conditioned battery works, is it lowers the resistance to near zero or at zero, depending on the conditioning process or the point it's in conditioning.
Hey, can you
And
explain
it just makes
conditioning?
us
Yeah, I was gonna say sorry. Can you explain conditioning just for
okay. So
non-engineer
but it
skills?
basically makes the battery slippery, right? You can hold a high potential of that battery at a high shelf and output the maximum potential until it drains up, and then it kind of just discharges fast. So it uses its maximum potential at the whole entire runtime of your system. Unlike a traditional battery, which just slowly degrades over, time. It doesn't have a shelf where it hangs. So,
Okay.
you could be running it for an hour and it goes down from 12.8 to 12.6. Your fan's going to slow down a little bit, or it's going to work a little harder to maintain the same power level that you were at. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so that's what it's battery regenerator, basically a device that restores capacity to lead.
It also,
Yeah.
yeah, it also rejuvenates
Yeah.
sulfated batteries, but the
Yeah.
conditioning process itself hasn't really been described in detail outside of Bedini's. It's a chemical process change. You're changing the battery's internal chemistry. But why? Why is it doing the things it's doing? When I look at it, I see a connection to the thunderstorm generator. Okay. So the thunderstorm generator, it uses the plasmoid chamber to generate the plasmoids. And those plasmoids embed themselves into the metal of the thunderstorm generator, and they can actually be utilized. Like you can turn off the generator and let it sit for a couple of years, and then a couple of years later you turn it on. You don't need the plasmoid generator for about 20 minutes because those plasmoids are already embedded in the metal and they activate. And this has already been documented and proven with the thunderstorm generator. It's a documented phenomenon that happens, and this is the theory behind it. Now, when you connect this to what I believe is going on in a negatively conditioned battery, I believe that if this field cavitation process is happening, it could be structuring plasma. That's how cavitation works, right? Or that's what cavitation does. It can structure plasma. And what we know from the thunderstorm generator is that plasmoids, that structured plasma, when they're manipulated correctly with the proper frequency, can embed themselves in metal. So what I believe is happening, or could be happening, is that structured plasma could be embedding itself into the plates of the battery. Now, this explains all of the phenomenon of the unique effects of the negatively conditioned battery, right? It gives you a mechanism behind, just saying, oh, the battery is more efficient, or the chemicals inside the battery have changed somehow. It gives us an actual explanation of what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. So then that negative stuff there, I was trying to wrap my head around that because I saw the Thomas Bearden that presentation he did, or the interview he had. It's quite fascinating. But yeah, I was gonna I ran this through Grok. Just want to see what happens. But then also, one thing I want to ask is like I'm a practical guy. Like, what because like outside of let's say more efficient and so on, um, like because one of the ones where like what other anomalous effects are there with a rodent coil? Because I think yeah, like I've seen ones where the magnet was like spinning from like a distance away. Like, have you?
Oh, magnetic synchronicity is one of the most amazing effects of the coil. I have not been able to achieve it.
Okay, yeah,
I
that's the
think
one I
it's
want to
been
see.
documented maybe twice online.
Like those are the ones
It
that if you
is
can run that, and then if you figure out how to do that, like in a
so
routinely fashion.
right. I have different theories on how to achieve it, but there are so many unique effects with the coil. That is one of the most unique effects, in my opinion, because it just shows like the coil has this ability to output an enormous magnetic field and influence, say, a magnetic rotary at like 20 feet away, spin something. And
Mm-hmm.
even when it's powered off, it has the ability because it acts as a capacitor along with a transformer and a inductor. It's a unified single element network. So in that sense, it stores energy. So you turn it off and it acts as a capacitor and it'll release that energy and actually increase the speed of the magnet spinning for a little bit. So these effects are very useful. Imagine having a magnetic rotary in your industrial warehouse that's spinning a magnet. Like the coil is
Mm-hmm.
over here, and the magnetic rotary is like 20 feet away.
Yeah.
Like and people are walking between. There's nothing.
Oh
It's
wow.
just synchronized so much that just the slightest push is going to spin and maintain that momentum of the rotary, but it's not enough to like affect really anything. Like you're walking between and nothing's like being attracted. It's really cool, but it's, in my opinion, one of the most useful practical applications of the coil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That thing. But you said it's only been done twice. You said documented twice.
Yeah, so Jack Scholes did it. You can see him do it in the TED Talk that Randy Powell did on vortex-based math. And then Daniel Nunez did it with his version 3 PoE coil. Um, Again, they really haven't released details on their setups, but I have ideas on how we can do it. I haven't been able to figure it out yet. We've tried
Yeah.
many, many times on live stream.
Okay. And you said you talked to Daniel Nunes. Well, one thing I always
I
ask
did.
is again when people are hiding what they're doing, is there any indication that the guy's not telling
I
the full
think
truth or what's going on?
No, no, I think he's like I talked to him, finally after a while, and I just think he's in a I think he got caught in a rock between a rock and a hard place because like at some point you need funding for your research to continue it, to take it to the next level. You've done everything you can with this kind of funding. You need the next level of funding to get this big equipment and test this next idea, right? I think is just under an NDA and he might not be able to say as much as he wants to, and I think it just boils down to that. But he did comment on my synthetic AC model. And while it wasn't like detailed, he basically indicated that he supports the model 100%. He thinks it's correct, which is an enormous validation for my work. Like that's literally everything that I started doing here was trying to validate his work and prove or disprove it. Right. I set out trying to say, hey, if even one thing that Daniel said was true with these coils, it has to be looked into. And, after discovering how easy it is to make one of these coils for, some garage tinkerer, I decided to start doing experiments myself and single-handedly everything that we've been able to test, we've been able to verify he was telling the truth about, except for magnetic synchronicity, which I just don't think I understand it enough to replicate it at this time.
Okay. Is there the video? I want to pull it off. I want to pull it up and watch it again. I don't see how you did it. Is there a video
Yeah,
right now on
there's
YouTube on his channel, or where is it?
yeah, you can. So magnetic synchronicity, the coolest one I've seen was Daniel's video. Go on my channel, go to the first Divine Science video, the Divine Science, the plasmoids and vortex based math. So click popular videos instead of latest, sort them by popular. Um, and
Okay.
it's near.
Wait. I have a question here. What's going on here with Randall Carlson and Joe Rogan? What's going on here? What's going on there?
Oh, that was one of my first video clips that I uploaded. And it did really well for a while. No, that was just the whole controversy. Remember, Malcolm was on his episode or his podcast, and the episode got cut, never released.
We've done Randall, because the thing is that you have to realize I don't actually know much about Randall Carlson or even Malcolm Bendel outside of you.
So no, it's just it's
yeah.
Randall Carlson. It was just explaining the story behind the Malcolm Bendel and Joe Rogan controversy.
Okay, yeah. So if you could just do a quick rundown, like a few sentences. So what happened with Randall Carlson? I know Randall Carlson is that ancient Egypt guy or something. Is that the ancient Egyptian thingy?
So he teaches about sacred geometry mostly,
Yeah.
but yeah, he touches on ancient history and all the sorts of conspiracy topics that we talk about. But he was on that clip, he was talking about the controversy where Malcolm Bendel was invited on the Joe Rogan
Oh,
podcast
okay.
because Randall knows Joe Rogan. He's been on the podcast many times. So Randall's like, hey, let's get on Malcolm. He's this inventor behind this thunderstorm generator device that's going to revolutionize, the basically every industry that we have. So he was on the podcast, but Jamie, Joe Rogan's producer, pulled up a bunch of articles that were basically a culmination of a smear campaign against Malcolm, or at least in his words, they were a smear campaign against him from some unrelated thing that happened in his past. When he was an oil prospector, he found a large, or he suspected there was a large reserve of oil somewhere where he was prospecting in Australia. And the oil companies at the time, he said, had overstated their reserve by a large number. So if, like they needed to find oil, and the fact that, Malcolm supposedly found this large reserve, they wanted to take it from him, and they employed a smear campaign about his kind of esoteric and controversial background. So it was basically an episode where they asked him a bunch of irrelevant questions that had nothing to do with the thunderstorm generator. And it turned out to be a bad episode. They didn't release it. But I feel like it should have been released, just because having Malcolm's name out there under that big audience would allow people to see his name and then do the research for themselves and decide for themselves about the thunderstorm generator, not about, his controversial past, right? Like the science is real. It's documented, and it's based off of a clear lineage of discoveries since like early Nikola Tesla days. So it's not something new that he just pulled out of his ass.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. There's always like interesting side adventures within every single
Right.
person. It's always...
Life isn't black and white, people.
Yeah.
There could be a good person who does bad things, and
Yeah.
then there could be a bad person who does good things. Life
Yeah.
is
Well,
confusing,
also
like
Joe Rogan, he's definitely a Freemason slash Satanist. he,
I will say this, at the very least, he's ignorant as hell.
well, I'm not sure if you've seen this or if I showed you or not. Joe Rogan. So it's when he also brings it up. He went to in 2003. He went to a satanic wedding for Stanton LaVey, the grandson of Church of Satan founder Antoine LaVey. Like you know those LaVeys. Yeah, so there's Church of Satan, and then Joe Rogan was wearing a 666 shirt, mocking the crucifixion while making devil horns. During the wedding, he claims he's not a Satanist, but only went there because his friend was performing at the satanic wedding. So that's him. Like, well,
I mean, I would go to a satanic wedding for a good metal show, though. Like, to be honest, maybe he was just into the music.
Yeah, but well, his friend was played at the band there.
But now that I'm thinking about it, it would make me really uncomfortable being at a satanic wedding.
Yeah, but it's also this is not just a normal satanic one. This is the grandson of the founder of the which is Antoine LaVey.
The Church of Satan, or whatever
Antoine
it's
LaVey
called.
is like literally this guy here. He was super.
Now, is that like a separate church? Because I know there's a certain Church of Satan that's kind of just like a mocking of Christianity. It's not really a religion.
Yeah.
This is a different.
This is a
different group.
This is a full-on religion. It's like
full-on religion.
Scientology slash mixed with a whole bunch of.
So it is kind of like a cult.
Yeah. It's like that. But again, it's like that's a grandson. But then he almost here's a clip of him saying that he's not a Satanist.
To a wedding that my friend Duncan Trussell was performing at for these two Satanists in like 2003, and to this day, it was one of the LaVeys, Anton LaVey or Stanton LaVey, whatever is his son, and his son got married. This was some young hedonist, you know, and they call themselves Satanists, and so Duncan performed at this wedding, and I went there. To this day, I get tweets about being a Satanist.
Okay, but
yeah, Satanism is just an excuse to be an asshole.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about it. So notice, then we'll get back on the thing. I just wanted to illustrate, like, there's a lot of stuff that's a bit next level. Like, you know, the highest in the Church of Satan, the highest rank is MAGA. I think something like that.
What?
Satan MAGA.
Wow.
So
I mean, is that a coincidence, or is there a connection there?
Is it I think it was a satanic temple. Okay, we'll see the here. Yeah, so yeah, the MAGA, aka Trump's MAGA, is the highest ranking degree in the Church of Satan. You can go there.
Well,
you can literally go there right here. Church of Satan.
We know Trump's not a Christian.
Yeah.
So, like, what is he?
No, he's obviously a Freemason / whatever. He's deep.
You think Trump's a Freemason?
100%. No, he doesn't have Freemason sign all the time. Like, you know the Freemason sign.
Interesting.
Like listing, you know,
no, I don't.
I'm
not familiar with it.
I have a giant thread of hands. So I have an obsession with hands. Thomas Beard in that thingy, he's pulling it up too. So like this hand symbol, that's Angela Merkel. Does that every time. There's Trump does that.
Wow.
All the time. Even Kevin O'Leary does this. You see a lot of big names do this.
Because that is kind of like a devious, like, even if you're naturally setting your hands in that position, that is like a devious, you know, like gesture, you know, like, you know, kind of like, wow.
Yeah, but I want to show you
like something like a villain would rest.
Yeah,
like a pose.
No, I actually bought Mr. Burns' The Simpsons book. You know, Mr. Burns always does that.
Yeah, Mr. Burns. Yeah, exactly.
So
right, like some kind of devious fucking.
No, but I'll tell you. But it's from the soccer team was the All-Star game years ago, and then look, nobody's hands, or look at everyone's hands. They're all normal. Oh my goodness, who's that guy? That's me.
That's you?
No, I was doing that just for fun, but like think of it
You're
this way.
mocking him.
Yeah, but like think of it, no one's doing that but me. So what's interesting, I could go on but that. Yeah, so my brother's friend, he wouldn't believe, like he's saying, oh, it's just a bunch of nonsense you're talking about like that, right? So then he on his Christmas, I think one of his Christmas dinners for his work, it was like all the conference, all the boss and like the parent company showed up, and then at like the biggest table there, the head guy, he's sitting there, and then my brother's friend told him he was doing this with his hands the entire time. Like he was sitting down, he was doing this the entire time. It's like that, and then that's when he realized, okay, something's up. But anyway,
interesting.
Yeah, you'll see this a lot. I have Elon Musk throw those around, and so on. But Thomas Bearden throwing it around, that was a bit next level, and. Yeah, I've
never noticed that with Tom Bearden.
And Thomas Bearden knows about Judy Wood as well. I'll show you this one. Because I posted this before. This was the doctor actually sent this to me. So here's somebody sent him an email on his Bearden email. No, Bearden. Where did I find the email? Bearden email. Let's say terrorist. No, I'd say Judy. Bearden Judy. I think. Okay, this one here. Okay, I gotta find that. Thomas Bearden, Judy terrorist. Okay, yeah, I need to find a link. But anyways, on his website, you can actually see this website. But anyways, let's go back into the setup there. I hear they're closing electrical circuits within the body within the symbolic hand gestures. Yeah, but I think it's basically just a Freemasonic hand setup. Actually, yeah, last thing about the Joe Rogan one is you seem to be interested. Rogan, Freemason. So this is 1985. Have you ever heard about the TV show News Radio? Okay.
You said what? Sorry, I was reading something.
No, I was gonna say, have you heard about the TV show News Radio? This was 1985.
No, I haven't.
Joe Rogan was on there before he got famous. So look what it was about. Look up.
That all federal, state, and local judges are members of a certain obscure sect of the Freemasons.
Now, hold on. Our strategy is that all judges are Masons?
I didn't know he was on the show.
Yeah, but listen to this episode 3, whatever. But look at and it's a real thing, okay?
Well, there's a secret Masonic word which, when uttered, obligates judges to rule in your favor. Then they have to go paddle each other off in a secret cave somewhere. Mr. James.
Come on, Joe, give it up.
It is a real word.
Tubal cain.
Tubal cane? Sorry, tubal cane? What the hell does that mean?
I have no idea.
Yeah, but how do you use that in like a nonchalant way? Like,
Wait,
I gotta use the tubal cane.
Wait, watch. No, but he's gonna do it. Watch.
There awaits the pyramids.
I beg your pardon?
This is before he was famous and all this conspiracy stuff.
Idea.
Watch.
The master builder awaits the pyramids.
I beg
So
your
what I
pardon?
would do is I would find out who the writers are of this show too.
Yeah, they're all on this. But watch videos.
You do.
Do you have anything to say in your defense?
He's in court.
Tubal cane?
I hereby find in favor of the guy with the adjourned.
No, he's gonna go paddle his friends out. And he's got his paddle. But what's interesting, that's a real word though. It's not just a made up thing. Okay, so I'll show you why. Tubal cane.
Yeah, I'm not even familiar with it. What does it mean?
I have no idea what it means, but there's a YouTuber. Okay, there's a workshop that has like one of the biggest workshops here. Very interesting workshop YouTube channel that goes by the name Tubal Cane, which is the same phrase Joe Rogan entered. And this guy's pretty big, 320,000 subscribers, and he puts Tubal Cane everywhere.
Tubal cane.
And this guy's obviously a Freemason, like an old guy with a YouTube channel that's like hundreds of thousands of subscribers now. 324 subscribers, and he's a craftsman, etc. How to run yeah, so this guy's just Freemason, obviously. I've seen some of these lathes at John Hutchison's place. So I'll be visiting John actually in October likely again. So for like annual, the third straight year. I'm gonna
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't think a lot of people have been doing interviews with them, have you? Are you like one of the only people who have been like reaching out to him to do interviews recently?
Recently. Well, I've had
'Cause
it
I haven't-
before, but I'm gonna go to his. I haven't interviewed him in a while.
I'm just saying, like, he needs more exposure online, and I just don't see a lot of people like reaching out, and I don't see new interviews of him online other than your channel.
Okay. So just before his, I wrote this in the notes. So I'll go over the notes right here. Just before he had his emergency, he had to go to the hospital. So he actually, me and him were supposed to have a Zoom call with freelance producers that basically I'm his publicist, so I'm like managing between them. These guys here.
Oh, okay.
So these are like some small guys, Jeremy Gilbert and David Altman. This guy here. So this is from.
Wow, and it said Danny Jones wants to fly him out.
Oh yeah,
that's big. That's a big channel.
Well, Danny Jones wanted to fly him up, but he doesn't want to fly. He was telling him you can come to their place, but they probably won't. But yeah, so if they don't come, then he's not gonna go there. Because it's too much trouble there. So he'd rather do this producer thingy. But yeah, so Danny Jones.
It's John Hutchinson. If I was their producer, I would have set something up like live stream wise, or that's recorded.
No, that's one thing. I will actually ask John if I can send them an email and see if they want to do a live stream instead.
Because I think it's important that he gets exposed to a larger audience like Danny Jones's channel, and Danny Jones has a lot of support in this area of like fringe science and all that. So
yeah,
I don't know where John Hutchinson is at. I know he's had a lot of health problems. He maybe he hasn't like had a lot of stamina or energy to like do a bunch of stuff. So I'm not really sure.
He can. It's just that traveling is that one that's the hard part. He's not going to Florida. They wanted him to fly out to Florida,
right?
From Tampa Bay, Florida. But he wants him to fly.
I wouldn't go to Florida.
But he wants him to fly to the lab. I even offered I can be him and his wife's chauffeur and like guide if Danny Jones covers my cost too. I'll go to Florida. It'll be pretty fun.
Is it just the traveling, or is it like airplanes? Like, is he interested in like? Would he be willing to drive?
No, he's not driving. No. But even then, John is But it's not just that. But like you have to realize he has the health issues. He right now he's trying to fly out to many different hospitals and neurologists. He had some prostate, urinary.
Oh no, that's true. He needs to have someplace close in case something happens. That's true. But
it's also, it's also a number. He's 81 or so. He's in the 80s, upper. Okay, and then
in Florida, honestly, Florida has shit healthcare. So like
Yeah.
I wouldn't go there.
And he's in California. He's not driving. Nobody's driving like 4 days.
Oh yeah, he's in Cali. Yeah, that's on the opposite coast.
Yeah. So I have to drive an hour.
Wow.
I need to when I flew to there. I flew to Santa Rosa, and then I would rent a car and drive for an hour all the way to like a no-name place. all those like no-name place in Cali. He's in this like little town there. But yeah, so that's John. But he did email me saying he's better. So he said, yeah, maybe 2 weeks with again he was just had surgery, so he's resting now. So that's the captain. And speaking about so he's gonna be on a show once he's good. He'll also be on another live stream with me, and one of his one of his friends, Tom Sky. I posted this on my YouTube channel. So Tom Sky, he actually this I have the like he actually. So this is Tom Sky. He visited John in the 2007, and that's his uncle. He visited him, and then he actually witnessed the Hudson effect. But then he experienced some health effects that he's gonna be on the show. He said he almost died for 2.5 weeks. And then even Ken Shoulders, like Ken Shoulders, he went and flew to his house to try to help him out because he said he felt so super weird, like it felt like high voltage across the whole body, and like time was weirding out. But then but listen, word got out that to like everybody, John was asking everybody to help him out, and then like in one of those First Nations Native American guys, or Canadian, one of those First Nations guys, one of the elders, he found out and told him you need to ground yourself in nature. So he went to the beach and stood in sand and water, and then he said within a minute all the electrical energy just discharged and he felt better. So
interesting. No, because we had a team when I was doing the Water Tribe presentation. We had a team in that group that emphasized, because they were working with plasma healing technology, and they would emphasize that in your system, because they open sourced everything. They emphasize that you can't have any positive energy. It has to be all negative energy going through your body. If you have any positive energy mixed in with it, that could be deadly. And I'm wondering, like if if you're experimenting with that kind of thing and you have a specific mix of those kinds of energies, it might, produce some kind of health effects. I don't know. That's kind of, but that's something that worries me, to be honest, when I'm experimenting with any kind of plasma healing with coil.
Well, no, yeah, but he wasn't doing plasma healing. He was just experiencing the Hudson effect. He was watching.
But the point is, the Hutchinson effect produces microscopic plasma. So it's all, in my opinion, it could be connected, right? It's just something that could be a connection that we have to pay attention to.
No, it is. But like what I'm trying to say is he was too close to the active area, and you can see the footage. Like, see this is the photo he took. That's how close he was to it, and you can literally hear it. And so on, and while John is hiding behind, like John is in the back.
Yeah, it has some kind of secondary positive field or something coming off of it close. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, he got affected by it.
Yeah, because he was standing like literally at the worst spot ever. I'll show you a quick video here. He was standing right here, where he's like, here's it running, and he has
and at the back.
So John is behind like a whole bunch of heavy equipment and in his operating room. Like that's where he's at. Now look how close this guy is to the.
In the video.
I assume maybe because he wanted to get it on camera good and he got too close, right?
Well, John already has a camera that George Hathaway gave him, and it's standing right there. And then yeah. So if you see at the end, John actually shows him, hey, you guys missed. It was levitating bottle at the back. So they actually see. John actually.
Oh, you don't even notice.
Yeah. So John has already recorded. They just were way too close, and his uncle also had some health effects, but not.
But see, that's the kind of like, especially with a big lab that's got so much stuff in one area, like John's lab. Something like that could happen. You don't even notice it.
It is, but all that stuff in the back, that's actually protective when you're behind it because it's super thick, like old school radio receivers and all that. So. And that's where John's hiding behind a bunch of these. He's not in the test area. This is where they're getting fried. So the guy was standing right here.
I'm surprised he's not behind like a Faraday cage or something.
Well, that's what I mean. It pretty much is. You could actually see him as operating. It's one of the rare footage of him actually in his operating room. Watch him walking in.
So operate all through here.
So there's him, and he's actually tinkering. You can see it tinkering live.
Through this system here.
Oh, it's actually quite ridiculous.
Those are submarine modules, are they not? I think.
Yeah, this guy is literally taking
Yeah.
That's what I do here.
surplus from like Navy ships.
Yeah, that's so wild.
And like these
It
are,
looks like something in a Star Wars.
yeah, and these are literally operating like this guy.
Jamming unit.
There's a
Dude,
jamming
his
unit.
lab is so cool. Yeah, he's got a lot of cool stuff in his
This was his
lab.
apartment. This was 2007 as an apartment. Now his lab is much bigger now.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, this is a small apartment, but still, I would still consider it a lab. Just the whole apartment was a lab.
No, it is a lab. No, I'm just saying this was the. But now he has an actual lab. Which is,
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I seen the videos of the small apartment, the little small walkways and all this big equipment.
yeah.
It reminds me of my uncle.
Nice.
RF system here.
Yeah, so
and
I
have
put down here. He told me. He told me the full list. So Tom will be on the show with John once he's healthy there. So that'll be pretty epic. Again, this guy witnessed it in the extreme. So that's that part there. Yeah, and there's other producers. These guys want to do a little piece on him. And so I had to put it on pause because right when we were supposed to do the meeting, and then he goes emergency. And they yeah, so I was pretty but he's well, he got his surgery, so I think he's hopefully fine for now. So
Yeah, I'm wishing him the
Yeah.
best. I hope he has a speedy recovery
Yeah.
and he's well.
Okay, yeah. So now we had a detour to this MAGA Satanist. And, oh yeah, okay, one more thing. I want to go back into that Daniel Nunes and then that synchronicity of the spinning magnet. But before we get to that, I want to show, like, do you know who that occultist Marina Abramovich, or whatever? How do you say her name?
I'm not even familiar with the occult, to be honest.
Well, it's just that super. It's that super famous person. So she's everywhere. She was in the Pizzagate stuff. Marina Abramovich or something. Marina Abramovich.
It sounds roughly familiar. I couldn't.
Yeah, like the amount. Yeah, this. She's like literally like you wouldn't believe how old she is.
She doesn't look familiar. Who is she?
How old do you think she is?
Zoom in a little bit.
You know, she's everywhere. She's like with somehow
She looks to be in her 50s, maybe 60s.
No, she's 1 month younger than 1 month younger than John Hodgson. So John Hodgson was born October.
Wow.
October. She's born November 30th, 1946. So she's 79, turning 80.
Wow.
Is that what it is? Yeah, 79, turning 80. No, actually no. John, no, 1 year younger. John is 1945.
Must be that adrenochrome.
Yeah. John is 80. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's but like, but she's also. I have like on my Telegram. I have huge amounts of posts just about her. It's pretty funny. If I go to Marina, yeah. So she partners. Okay. Somehow she's partnering with a whole bunch. Yes, she's partnered with Zara, but okay. So you know the tennis player. What is his name? Novak Djokovic, like the best tennis player of all time.
I don't really follow sports.
Okay. No, I'm just saying his wife somehow it's like okay, but anyways, like you know Jay-Z.
I do know of Jay-Z. Yes.
Yeah, but they had a little thing with okay, so Marina and Jay-Z, like Marina Jay-Z, like this is how close they were. But apparently they're also fighting back and so on. But you can see some images of them. She did some no that's Marina and Jay-Z's hair tied together. Like, anyways, so
I have no comment on that.
she's the one that her artwork involves like throwing like a bunch of blood and semen and breast milk mixed together on like these baby like dolls. That's her art. Yeah,
That's
anyways.
gross.
The reason I was saying that is
Yeah.
because she calls Trump a wizard. Okay, where's I didn't post. I need to post about this. Marina Trump. So Marina calls Trump a wizard out of all the people. Where's the
Yeah, there's a fine line between pushing the boundaries of art and just being gross. Like, come on.
No, it is. Yeah, this is. Okay, we'll play this one, and then I want to go play the Nunes.
The Trump is the best.
Okay.
Okay, no, we'll do it later. I'm just gonna skip it. I'm gonna get back into my thing. You can go do your thing. I'm gonna find the Daniel Nunes. Actually, you said divine science.
Yeah, so here, I'll show you.
Divine
Go to
Divine
if you go to
Science
videos,
trailer.
um,
Flux capacitor. These are trail divine.
No.
Are they on the live streams or are they actual videos?
it's not a live stream, it's a video. So click popular and go to the scroll down just a little bit. Should be one of the first lines. Maybe they pushed it down a little bit. Oh, right. No, that's not it. Go down a little bit more. Yeah, it must have pushed it down a little bit. A little bit more.
Do you remember the title?
Yeah.
Or would it be Nunez? Was his name mentioned?
One more. Go down one more.
What if it's Daniel? Response to my work DIY. Oh, he actually responds to your work.
He did.
Rabbit
I mean, you
hole.
could play that if you want, but just
What's
type
the-
in plasmoids in the search.
Introduction plasmoids. What are we doing? How do we find
Oh,
it?
right there, the third one.
This one here? Thunderstorm generator?
Yeah, I must have.
Oh, episode
I
one.
changed the thumbnail and I don't
Okay.
recognize it.
Divine Science episode 1. Okay.
Yeah. So it's near the end. It's broken up into chapters. So if you go to the chapter list in the description, I can read them off to you. Which one it is. Let's
Okay.
see.
That's good. Conclusions.
Go to the Nunez method.
Okay, yeah, just the last one. This one is made a typo here, I think. This is longer than the video. 12257. 11937.
Oh, I might have cut it off.
Yeah.
I might have cut it off. Yeah, that
Okay, Nunez method or
I have
which
to
one?
edit it.
The Nunez
The
method.
Nunez method, 112.
Okay. Because like I'm like John
and
Hudson.
several
a bit.
major breakthroughs in technology regarding patents based off of Marco's vortex math and unified theory. Some of those include resonant inductive coupling. This technology, based on the principles of resonant magnetic induction, utilizes special coil designs to wirelessly transfer power between two coils by creating high-frequency oscillating magnetic fields. By applying the concepts of vortex math, researchers have developed more efficient and reliable resonant inductive coupling systems for applications such as wireless charging of electronic devices and electric vehicle charging. Using the principles of vortex math in the various rodent coil designs, advancements have been made in the development of highly sensitive and accurate magnetic field sensors. These sensors can detect and measure magnetic fields in various applications, such as navigation systems, industrial automation, and scientific research. Inspired by the principles of vortex math, inventors have developed energy harvesting devices that utilize enhanced coil designs to capture and convert ambient energy, such as vibrations, electromagnetic fields, and thermal gradients, into usable electrical power. These devices have potential applications in self-powered wireless sensors, IoT devices, and renewable energy systems. Looking back at vortex math and the secret to 3, 6, and 9, which Marco says represents an electromagnetic flux field that is at the center of reality, he suggests that this magnetic flux field formed by these numbers is at the core of all existence. The interaction of this flux field is what makes our reality physical. This could imply that electromagnetism is more significant than gravity when trying to understand the universe. Could the universe really be governed by electromagnetism? And these patterns don't just apply to base 10. They translate into all base form constructs due to these principles being a part of our universe's intelligent design. Sometimes it's easier to grasp the more complex ideas of vortex math by thinking about them in reverse. Sort of like how reducing vortexes down to lower dimensions turns a spiral into a curve, as you've seen earlier. By shifting your perspective, a different
So
angle
this
of
is the
enlightenment
magnetic
can be
levitation.
Have you been able to do this one as well or no? The levitation?
No, that one's going to be a little bit easier to do. I do have a working theory and an idea of how to make that work. I think it has more to do with the delicate placement of the coil around the frame. So you see how like he doesn't have it all twisted into one big bundle. It's all delicately placed and evenly placed wire spacings around the coil. So I think the field geometry is much more evenly placed, a lot more symmetry in the field. And there's a lot less imperfections that just allow that to be a possibility that my system just can't at this moment. But yeah, I think it just has to do with more delicately placed wires, and you know, you have to obviously drive it at a specific frequency and get it to spin first and then levitate. So there's a whole process of getting it in that torr and levitating, along with, you know, just the geometry of the coil.
Yeah, I understand. What I was gonna ask you, so One Stop Energies, is Daniel and them. So you like, do they explain exactly how they did this, or they just show it and they don't explain anything? Like, I don't understand.
If there was any explanation, it is gone and scrubbed off the internet now. And I went to the Wayback Machine, and I went on all of Daniel Nunez's like partnering channels, or people who have commented on his, you know, some of his videos, just to try to see if anybody captured anything or I could recover anything, but I couldn't find anything to indicate that he explained it. If he did, it's gone. And I did get in contact with him, but frustratingly, he responded to my Instagram message, my direct message, but then I asked him for details on that, specifically magnetic synchronicity, and well, not levitation, the next video that you were going to show, magnetic synchronicity, and he just didn't respond. So I'm not really sure.
Even recently, when you talked to him, did you talk to him on the phone, or what did you?
This is about a month or two ago.
But how did
on
you?
Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. Okay, so it might be just one of his. Are you sure it's him, or somebody just typing?
I mean, I'm assuming it's him because it's using the One Stop Energies, and to be honest, he did speak like it, and it made me believe that it was him. Just he seemed cagey, like maybe there are certain things he can't talk about publicly, which you know, I completely understand if you're under an NDA. But at the same time, that leaves, you know, my job a little bit harder and trying to just, you know, understand some of this stuff. But yeah, this is magnetic levitation, and the next experiment is magnetic synchronicity, which is where he synchronizes it fully with the pulse, and he can take it outside of that torr, and it still spins like 20 feet away.
Yeah, I want to see when. And is there? Oh, and you got my screenshot. That was mine.
Is that? Oh, maybe it was in the scrub through there. It's in there somewhere. It's in one of those ending chapters. Maybe it's a little bit farther down.
Okay, but actually, this is my thumbnail. You take mine.
Oh, this one. Yeah, no, I like that. I call that a lot of people call that the fingerprint of God.
Yeah, I made this one here, but yeah, some people think I was critiquing Roland. I'm like, no, well, some stuff he's saying is a bit out there, where he's but like the patterns is pretty next level. I was able to change it for every single base system. You'll have a pattern based on just. The thing is, you're always gonna get a pattern because there's only 9 digits. So if you cycle back, you're gonna get back into the usual setup there. When you're dividing by 2, and yeah. I forgot exactly. Yeah, this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How did I do this one again? 1, 2. Yeah, it's been a while. This is the one I did it for like 10-hour video. If I go to Vortex, I go to let's go Vortex. Yeah, here. So that was a thumbnail of this one here, Vortex. So I included your video, your streams in here. I have a Vortex math playlist. I have 9 hours, almost 10 hours. I made it just going over the arithmetic and proofs of why it always was a. And
it's just like you can talk for 10 hours about VBM and still not even scratch the surface, to be honest. It's such an in-depth like model, and a lot of it leaves room for explanation, right? Like there's all these like ideas behind the model, but in terms of connecting them to actual like physical mechanisms in our environment and how they actually could potentially work in practical systems, that is all open for interpretation, and that's where the synthetic AC model kind of attempts to bridge that gap.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so it's not in this the synchronicity, the one where he takes it out.
Keep going. It might be.
Would it be in that archive one? Because you said you have the archives found. Would it not be in there?
No, it's in that video somewhere. It might have been in a previous chapter. I'm gonna scrub through it real quick while we talk, and I'll find the exact clip.
Because I do want to see Roland coil magnet spinning. Okay, a rodent coil levitation. This guy's doing a levitation right here. Let's see this guy, rodent coil spinning magnet. It might be this old man built 11 months ago. Some of these are recent. Vertical magnet. That's kind of what I do is I would watch a million different. Oh, here's Randy Powell. This one. This might be it. I think this might be it. Randy Powell.
Yep, that's Jack Scholes and Randy Powell. Yep, that's a good one. Watch, you put that one on for now, and I'll find the other one.
Yeah, but I'll see this guy's quickly.
Levitation.
This guy's okay. He's levitating that, so he's levitating and it's spinning. That's pretty cool. Yeah. But is there? Okay, so and he's just doing some. So are you able to do something like that? But it's kind of hitting the sides, but that's good enough. Old man.
Yeah. So when it's hitting the sides, it's either I'm assuming it's either like an imperfection in the coil design, or maybe it's being driven just a little bit too high in the input power. The input power might be just a little bit too high.
Yeah.
Honestly, we won't really know until I do the experiment myself. Oh, Nathan actually did that. I didn't know he did that experiment.
Okay, this one is rodent coil vertical magnet rotation. Vertical. Okay, this one's dropping it in. Oh, that's cool. The magnet. What do you mean the magnet is vertical? Oh, it's like that sideways. Not spinning around that. That's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, but then the question is, can we do something practical with these? My van went through something like that. Okay, there's the guy in the Rumble. He says,
"Oh, there it is." You said what?
Yeah. He had some sort of effect. The Fred. His van got hit or a tornado. Can you recap on the van situation again? Please. Yeah. Recap on it again. I'll then read it out to. I'm just someone in Rumble. I'll read it out to. Yeah, let's play here.
Let's connect
The Daniel Nunes video. If you go back to the other one, it's at 1 hour and 8 minutes.
Okay, so 1 hour and 8 minutes. This is Daniel Nunes one. Okay, 1 hour 8 minutes.
And these are the only two people I've ever seen document the synchronicity. Lots of people have done levitation, but the actual synchronicity is something that I've only seen 2 times.
Oh, this one right here?
Yep, right here. That's it.
Torsion physics. As we've talked about before, torsion physics is one area of study that is promising for major scientific breakthroughs in energy.
Then he
the
turns it
Nunes
off.
design, as I like to call it, was the design of Daniel and Erica Nunes of One Stop Energies, a promising startup that was actively helping the community to study, understand, and develop this technology for the advancement of the world. It saddens me to say that without any indication of why, both the Nuneses and the dozens of video tutorials and demonstrations they had.
Okay, why did they remove all this thing? Okay, so it goes that far, but
that without any indication of.
I thought I seen one further, but it's still spinning it. Is it actually catching up? Speed
Yeah, just play it because it should be clipped where you see him take it all the way out.
World. It saddens me to say that without any indication of why, both the Nuneses and the dozens of video tutorials and demonstrations they had up on YouTube were all suddenly taken down, and the couple has not been heard from since 2022, where they posted their last Facebook message. The couple, who had been active on YouTube and Facebook for quite some time, were in the process of obtaining a lease for a building in New York to expand their experiments and contributions to society. Their take on the rodent coil is one that I have not seen elsewhere.
It's gonna play. Just keep playing.
It uses the same geometry as Marco Rodent's traditional coil. Only this coil utilizes 2 counter-rotating vortexes by introducing a second phase-shifted channel of wires. These 2 equal but opposing channels, when synchronized and pumped with enough voltage, will supposedly amplify and produce tiny amounts of overunity by tapping into zero-point energy. If the effects of their coil design are true, then I suspect that when enough voltage is put through the coil and 2 counter-rotating electromagnetic fields are produced, tiny amounts of plasmoid clusters might be produced at the 0 point of the coil. the center where implosion and
crazy.
explosion meet.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm just keeping an eye. Does it look like it's slowing down, or I think it's still going? Yeah, as long as it doesn't look like
What
it's
Marco
Yeah,
says
it probably
is
is.
a gateway
He
to
turned it off. It'll
zero-point
only
energy.
speed up for a second. Like, remember,
Yeah.
when you turn the system off, there's a pulse of energy that'll spin it up real fast, but it'll probably slowly, start to spin down after a few seconds.
No, I was just thinking that just because it's not just a spin by itself. So what would happen if you completely turn everything off and there's no effect? Like it's sort of
Might be produced at the 0 point of the coil,
It does look like it's
the
still
center
going
where
fast
implosion and explosion meet.
and moving.
What
Hold on.
Marco says is a gateway to 0-point energy.
It's hard to tell, but
Erica
he is
Nunez
wearing those
notoriously
gloves
demonstrated-
because it's going really fast, and sometimes it'll chip
Yeah,
glass if you don't have it tempered.
and it has to be glass, right? Or can you use
Yeah.
plastic or no?
In my experience, no. And I do have an idea of why this is. Now, I've tested plastic, I've tested metal, I've tested a few different types of material, but glass is the one that consistently allows it to spin the fastest and closest to synchronizing with that pulse. And I have a theory, and it's based off of others before me, ideas of glass interacting with the aether or amplifying etheric energy in some way. So something to do with the material, the glass material, it is able to amplify that effect or contain it in some way that plastic just won't. Or maybe it's the surface tension of the material of the plastic is just not slippery enough. I don't know, but my experiments have always utilized more positive results with the glass. I've not been able to get anywhere near as fast of a spin with anything else.
Okay, yeah, and then Drew Truscott in the chat says glass resonates, plastic is amorphous in structure. Isn't the
Yeah, that's true too. That's absolutely true too. It has a crystalline structure.
Okay, let's see how this looks right here.
Design by hooking a simple amplifier up to the coil. The amplifier fed the coil with less than 1 watt of energy, yet the coil was able to power a full 192 LED panel.
Yeah,
Conventional
look at this.
science says this should be impossible. Could their unconventional
But then when you
and
hook it up to a
ingenious way of
meter, and he had an
introducing
engineer
torsion
analyze this exact system, and the engineer's like, "Oh, you're not getting any extra power. It's registering at, I don't remember what the efficiency was, but he was telling Daniel, like, you're getting a loss here. It's not over unity." And Daniel looked kind of like disappointed. And I'm sitting here thinking now, like, holy shit, they were measuring this energy wrong. We can't use RMS or regular methods of measuring this energy. It's just not going to work. Like, we need a joule scope, and to use instantaneous power integration. And then we also, since we're partitioning this energy, we have to measure the forward pulse and the recovery pulse as 2 separate thermodynamic events and add them together. Because if we're just lumping them together in one average, we're not going to see the full picture.
Yeah, but another thing is, like, this is 192. Like, why don't they just get more and more and more? Like, at what point does it become obviously impossible? Like, instead of
well, I mean, the reason is because and this looks like a stereo amp setup in this one, which means you can change the frequency. But in a lot of different pulse systems that we use with the coil, especially the Joule Thief, there is a sweet spot for your load. What I mean by this is, since the whole system is in resonance, the load has to be selected as carefully as the capacitors or the diodes. Meaning, if you have, say, a light source that is providing too much resistance and changing the frequency of the output too much, it'll throw off the resonance and it won't produce as much brightness, or it won't be as efficient. It'll drain the battery more. So there's a kind of like a tuning method that you have to account for regarding your light or your load or whatever you're powering, along with the components of your system, which is something that a lot of people don't really consider in resonant, LC systems. But in these kinds of vortex coil pulse systems, you really need to be careful about what you hook up to it, because, again, if you hook up something with a lot of resistance, you might not get the efficiency that you can out of the system. You just won't see it.
Okay, yeah, so you have to just ultimate what resonates with it. And yeah, I remember the energy in you said you need a joule meter. Like
a joule scope, yeah.
Yeah, joule scope. Yeah, can you just run down exactly? Yeah, because he said he got this run by electrical engineer, and he said it wasn't over unity.
That's
yeah.
what I got out of it. It was a long live stream, and the reason is, in my opinion, the way we measure the coefficient of performance, the efficiency of a system, is we assume that it's a closed system, and by that I mean, we employ something called root mean square, which it assumes a continuous flow of energy is happening, and that's how you calculate the efficiency, right? You're averaging out all of these pulses into one continuous uh, wave that you can analyze. But while you're doing so in a pulse system that uses high frequency impulses, those high frequency impulses that are returning massive amounts of voltage through that recovery pulse, they're simply being averaged out. And the peaks of them are being cut off, literally being cut off and smoothed out into this artificial blending of numbers. And you're not seeing the full picture. So when you have a pulse, like, it's a good way of measuring continuous energy, like something that's not pulsed, like true AC from like an AC generator or your wall socket. But in terms of pulsed systems that utilize high frequency impulses, it's not going to show you what you need to see. And that's why we fail time and time again to capture the true efficiency of these systems, even though they're outperforming every other comparable system off the shelf. We can't see it on our scopes, and this might be why. We need to look at that instantaneous unit of work, the joule, and not just average everything out. We need to see everything, all the peaks, and what exactly is going on with those impulses.
Yeah, there's a guy in the chat. He's saying if it's a open system, we can't discern how much energy is coming into it, and thus efficiency cannot be accurately calculated. Well, no,
that's not always
no,
that's not always true. It depends on what boundary you're defining your system at.
Yeah, but also like all that really matters is what you're putting in. Like, who cares if I'm getting a
right? And that's also true too. You can actually, it might not be an accurate way of gauging the efficiency, but we can essentially tell where the system is at compared to other systems regarding battery drain and runtime. So there are ways to gauge the efficiency of these types of systems, even though we can't directly see the energy. And like what you said is absolutely true. Really, all that matters is what we're putting into the system, what we're physically paying for. If the system has an additional input that's creating a longer runtime, yes, that boundary needs to be shifted so that input is accounted for. But at the end of the day, it's still there. It's not like it disappeared because we're not accounting for it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, so with this root mean squared, so the Daniel Nunes one, so like the electrical engineer guy said that, so the amount of voltage he's putting in is more than he's getting out when you square root and all this stuff. But can you elaborate exactly what they were doing, or do you know exactly what they were doing? They were just
so with the way the coil works is it is able to step up or step down voltage like 10 to 20 times or more, depending on the frequency, with a 1-to-1 coil of wire, which technically shouldn't happen, but it does. And the only thing that really explains this is field cavitation theory, in my opinion. But you get an enormous voltage output. Now, there is a paper that was peer reviewed that was done on the vortex coil, where they actually used the RMS method and got slightly over 100%, like 100.1 or something like that, or 101.5. It was very low, but it was slightly over unity. It was still registering over. Now, if they could get that with standard RMS, I'm wondering how high it would register with a joule scope and using, that method. If they're using pulse systems, that's assuming they're not using something like true AC or AC from a stereo amp setup. So if they're using a pulse system in that paper, then they literally still got technically a slight over unity with the traditional mathematical method. So it's not like a one size fits all. It's more of like, okay, so if we're seeing extra energy gains and runtime in our system that is behaving differently than a traditional system, but we can't actually see the energy, it's registering at a loss, but we know it's running longer than the numbers say it should at theoretical 100%, then we have to back up our boundary and reaccount for that extra energy in some way. And you know, the traditional method, the traditional mathematical framework that we have for measuring it is just not going to be adequate for these types of pulse systems, simply because it will, you know, it doesn't capture what's going on in real time. It blends everything into like this smooth artificial wave. So in order to actually see what's going on in these systems, you know, an impulse is very fast. It happens very fast. And it's in these types of systems, you get massive spikes. Those are all going to be rendered basically invisible. You're not going to see what's going on.
Yeah. No, I understand that part. I just want to wrap my head around, because like the energy output is also being measured in like root mean squared, or like how are you measuring the output energy at the same time?
So the output energy and the input energy is measured relatively the same in both methods. So the RMS method is employed for both the input and output for traditional systems CLP calculations. But for instantaneous power integration, we use the joule as the unit of work, and we calculate the instantaneous power at the input, and then we calculate the instantaneous power at the output. But we have to calculate two different outputs because the energy is partitioned. They're not, we can't lump them into the same type of equation, right? So we have to have a separate equation to calculate the forward pulse on the output and the backward pulse on the output. So the energy we're putting in versus the energy that we're recovering from the coil, they both have to be calculated separately, since they're being utilized separately. You know, they have literally different pathways in the system. And we can see that this is absolutely playing out as partitioned energy that is successfully synergized, but partitioned and being sent in different pathways. We see this play out as monitoring the output rail with a grounded probe, and we see negative 168 volts and simultaneously only 10 positive volts, which explains, you know, that the level of brightness we're getting on the panel and the runtime, because we're getting energy going back into the battery. That backward recovery pulse is going back into the battery. Now, how accurate that or how useful or efficient that battery is at absorbing that spike of energy is up to, in my opinion, what kind of battery you have. I believe that if we fully condition that battery with negative electricity, it will yield more positive efficiency in these types of systems, simply because it should theoretically be able to absorb that recovery energy more efficiently than a standard battery. It's just been conditioned to accept negative electricity. So, I mean, it's really not a hard concept to grasp when you think, when you know, like, the negative energy is going back into the battery, and Bedini motors are conditioned to accept that negative energy better than standard batteries. So, you know, it's not really a leap to say or to assume that that could yield more positive results in these types of systems. So that is what we're exploring as well, and it's something I don't think a lot of people have considered. You know, Daniel Nunez experiment with the Bedini SSG type circuits in his coil designs, but I've never heard anybody actually talk about utilizing a fully negatively conditioned battery as well. So I think, you know, these are all pieces of the puzzle. And the battery is just as important to optimize as the rest of the system if they're going to be a singularity, right? If they're all going to operate as one in resonance with one another, you want to have all these components fall in line and shake hands with each other instead of fight one another, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think I have this, the paper that you were mentioning. This guy.
Yes, the optimization of vortex coil technology or something like that.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Because he says he concludes that after testing the coil, it was discovered there had been no loss in voltage or current, and just a slight rise in output around 0.1, giving the impression of 100% efficiency. Despite this positive outcome, its expectations are not fully utilized.
So what I don't understand, though, is the method that they use to excite the coil. Maybe I don't understand it, or I need to reread it, or maybe it's not there, but I couldn't determine if they were using like a stereo amp to drive the coil or some kind of pulsed circuit, because that matters too. They're getting some really interesting results that we really can't see with our system, at least not with the methods that we've been using. So if we know more details on how they did that, I can kind of compare and contrast more more effectively. Okay. I'd really like to know. Maybe I'll contact the author of that paper.
I was gonna also say, yeah, are you getting up? I'll read this thingy first. Let me know when you're back in, 'cause,
No, I'm here. I'm just off camera real quick.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say so that paper links to another one. It says here, Introduction to Rodent Coil Design by Marco Rodin and Thomas Bearden. Is that true? I never knew that. Did Rodin and like work with Thomas Bearden in any way? Is that...
Design. I have no idea.
Yeah.
If that is true, that's the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, because I have
maybe
I have some stuff
maybe
on
it's
Marco.
based.
Yeah.
Maybe the paper's research is based off of both of their research independently of one another. That could be.
Well, it says copyright by Marco Rodin and Thomas Bearden. I don't know what this means. Yeah. So this is the part.
Copyright. Yeah, so maybe he co-authored this paper with Mark. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never seen this before.
Or one suspicion I have, or maybe Marco Rodin said he.
This is a different paper. This is a different paper, right?
No, this is the same one. The reference to Rex Research, because it says.
Oh, this is on the vortex optimization paper.
Yeah, it says 2010.
I didn't see that.
It says Rodin and Bearden. Yeah, but the thing is, I think my initial hunch is I think just Rodin just says put Thomas Bearden's name in there.
You know what? That could be true.
Because,
you never know with Rodin.
Well, because because I'm pretty sure he makes up a lot of stuff. Like in terms of like his setup. Okay, this guy says you can't get 100% efficiency of the water thus heat loss efficiency.
I don't know.
Yeah, we understand that like basic part, but the question is there a way to do resonate, get some free energy and so on? Just to illustrate, this guy here seems to be a bit of a skeptic, but yeah, so we have several questions. I'm going to read the Sachs guy. He had a pretty epic stuff he had with him. Use better wires. Okay. One thing I want to show everybody, it's like when I think I have like the simplest free energy proof experiments.
Well, I'd like to, after this next segment or whatever that you're going to go over, I'd like to go over thermodynamics real quick to like kind of espouse any myths, because as we discussed before the live stream, there's a blanket statement that just gets thrown around without people actually understanding the basics behind thermodynamics. So
yeah,
I think it's important to talk about that.
This is the part where I show people, nobody quite. I even showed Dr. Judy Wood this. I'm like, she's like, okay, she's also a bit baffled, like what's going on here. So like a lot of people talk about 100% efficiency and so on. Well, a gyroscope has inertial forces with zero loss of spin speed. Like all the force you experience from it doesn't change anything. I filled up 10-gallon bucket with gasoline from another 10-gallon bucket, 100% efficient. No, that's how it works. If you didn't do that, if you filled up, with 10 gallons, and now you have 100 gallons, 1,000 gallons. Who cares where the 10 came from? 910 came from. This guy, I don't know if he's trolling or not. It's like basically, if it's you're getting energy from the ether somehow, we don't really care. Okay. Oh, whoops. That's too much nines. There's another. That's 10,000. Okay. Anyways, we have Chris Shack's asking, what does BeneficenceTV thinks about 9/11? Well, yeah, I think pretty much. I think if you post a video about that, he'll join the live stream with the Dr. Judy Wood one. So you have to be on your best behavior, everybody, because when the doctor's in town, I don't know. Yeah, everyone on the best behavior they get kicked out. I'm gonna go to. I think he posted a Judy Wood one here. Nope. 9/11. Yeah. It's like you put a solar cell in line with the battery, and yes, that is good too. But power is low there.
So Daniel Nunez actually did that setup, and he got outdoor lighting for his house, basically free of charge. He charged his battery once, and then he hooked it up to a solar panel with the coil, and the solar panel charged it up during the day, and it lit during the night, and he never needed to charge it again.
Yeah. Someone's asking. Yeah. So Chris Shack's asking. What does Beneficence think of 9/11? Okay. So what's your thoughts about 9/11?
Ooh, that's a deep topic. But basically, to summarize, I fall in line with Dr. Judy Wood's theories,
Well, it's not a theory. It's
and
not a theory. It's the thing. If you mention that to her in the live stream, you may get kicked out.
well, maybe okay, maybe I misspoke. Her ideas and
There's no
her
ideas. There's no
her
ideas.
research.
It's just evidence. Like the towers turn to dust. Is that?
Right, but the point is, I align with her views. So that's my
Yeah,
point.
I know.
Like
I know.
I don't want to be pedantic and all that, but yeah, I don't want to offend her either. But
Yeah,
at the
but
same time, like
I know, but
I
you can't join the live
that's
stream.
where I
I know,
fall.
but you can't join the live stream if you're like that, please. That's, you can't join.
Well,
the,
you're gonna have
the-
to put a list together of things that I can't say. Then.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, if you mention that, you should be like, okay, that's what no. It's well, the towers turn to dust. Like, I don't know. Is there anything else you need to go?
Look, I'm gonna say this right now. I am not an expert. I'm a layman, and sometimes I'm an idiot. So
Yeah, but like, what I mean is, like, do you know what I mean? Like, the towers turn to dust. Is that
no, that's something that I believe. You know, like I saw it happen on her presentations. I watched every presentation that she's ever given in full, in detail, doing research for what I do with these coils. You know, that's where I started. I started out in those fringe areas, watching Dr. Judy Wood, watching
Yeah, but
John Hutchinson.
yeah, no, I know, but like this not this is not a theory. It's not this is before and after. That's ground level. I'll show you. Here's the other one here.
Well, I mean, you don't have to convince me.
No, I know, but
I
if you've
already
seen-
believe.
If you've seen everyone, you don't say theory. You just don't say it. For example, this right here, that's the ground. This is the sphere at the bottom, not untouched. This is a lamppost right there. Can you see the lamppost on the side there? Can you? This lamppost is over there. It's gone. It's the ground level. Yeah. So it's basically it's just there's no views, no ideas. It's like did the towers turn to dust? Yes or no? It's like this.
Well, I mean, the official narrative doesn't make sense, not from
Yeah, I know,
a
but
logical standpoint and not from a scientific standpoint.
Yeah, I know, but your view doesn't make sense either. Saying that you've seen all of it, but you can't say that the towers turn to dust, like most of it, almost 90+%. Like that's just straight up. Like I know, like I don't know what are we doing here? But anyways, yeah, so that's pretty interesting thought. Yeah, I don't know why you're so hesitant on that, but anyways, I don't want to put you on the spot too much there. I'll just go over here. Is that like a toilet flush? Anyways, I'm gonna read this comment from Sachs.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
My camera cut off for some reason. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah,
see
I can hear.
oh, there we go.
Yeah, I can hear. I can't
I
see.
think it was my battery. So I plugged in my laptop. So okay, we're good.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this Sachs from Rumble because I asked them, can you recap this van situation? Something happened to his van years ago. He says okay, so he says back when I was an engineering tech, I was at a mast site in Kent, England. I finished with overhead work. I had 12 wire connection to complete in this small building inside the fence. It took 15 minutes plus 15 minutes post-job timesheets and records. Having all done that, I was enjoying the beautiful view, coffee, and roll-up. They switched on the test signal. They switched on a what do you mean okay, they said they felt like 10 men were banging on the sides and rocking my van from left to right. I was out of my seat as I leaned forwards to start the van. I selected reversed and floored out through the gates. All the dust was in the air and my hair was standing up. My van was only a year old and drove perfectly, but returning it pulled seriously to the left, doing 65 miles. I pulled in the center lane and I released the steering wheel, the divided left immediately. I took my van to the mechanics. I told them what happened. The next day I went to get my van and they said take this van instead of get your stuff out of here. They had my van for ages and I was now having severe shivers, couldn't stop shaking. They saw I was ill. I sent home and I was deteriorated over the next 10 days or more. I had 2 months off and I could barely walk. Severe colds and flu symptoms. All right. I'm trying to wrap my head around. So what happened to the van exactly? Like you're just.
It sounds like for I don't know, I don't want to speak for this person, but it sounds like to me when they say 10 men, it felt like 10 men were banging on either side rocking the van. Sounds like that's like a very, very strong but low frequency.
Summarize. I'm gonna use AI to summarize Sax. Summarize what Sax something is saying about his van. I believe he said he claims a let's say high let's say frequency energy weapon struck his van or something. Struck his van. I'm trying to get at the proper. Okay, there it is. All right, so we're gonna get
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's pretty wild. Do you have photos of it? Thanks for sharing. Do you have photos of the van? Photos of the van.
And he never got the they never got the van back. Is that what they said?
Okay. I think. Oh wait. Well, yeah, I didn't see the part there. I'm gonna read right here. So Sachs was describing an incident. This is people say, "What do you use AI for?" I've done this with John Hutchison's. Like he emails me stuff, and I'm like, "Please decipher what John's talking about." So Sachs is describing an incident of at a radio, TV, cellular mast site in Kent, England, while he was working as an engineering technician. Key points from his account: he had finished overhead work and completed a 12-wire connection inside a small building on site, plus paperwork, about 30 minutes total. He was sitting in his nearly new van outside the fence, drinking coffee and smoking a roll-up when they switched on the test signal. The van suddenly shook and rocked violently as if 10 men were banging on the sides from left corner to corner. He was thrown forward out of his seat. He immediately reversed hard out through the gates. Dust was in the air and his hair was standing up. Afterwards, the van pulled strongly to the left at 65 miles. If he let go of the steering wheel, it would dive left immediately. He took it to a mechanic and explained what happened. The next day, they told him to take a different van and keep his belongings out of his own. So they took his van. They kept his original van for a long time. He then developed severe, uncontrollable shaking, shivers, felt very ill, was sent home, deteriorated over the 10 days with cold, flu-like symptoms, could barely walk, and ended up off work for 2 months. Okay, again, this is somewhat similar to Tom Sky. Well, I'll ask him. I'm going to see how similar this is to him. He presents the shaking and subsequent van damage personnel as having started the moment the test signal was activated. He does not explicitly use the words frequency, weapon, energy weapon, or similar. He attributes effects to the mass test signal. Okay, so apparently there's a giant radio, TV, cellular mass that fried him. Holy.
Yeah, and maybe that signal interfered with something they weren't aware of was in the area, and it produced some kind of field cavitation effect.
No,
Who knows?
I'm gonna put that in my notes right here.
I mean, this is just me spitballing, but these things they seem like they could happen if field cavitation is a real phenomenon.
Yeah, health and van effects from mass test signal. Holy, okay, that's pretty wild. Yeah, and if you have photos of Havana syndrome, he got caught in the particle accelerator like Sandman. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty wild. And then you want to talk about the other. So I'm gonna just close some stuff here. Yeah, and again, but the 9/11 stuff. The doctor is extremely you'll basically just haven't hear the word theory ever. You have to read the book. Actually, the books are right. I buy one every year, at least one every year. And I hand them off to people. But yeah, so she that's why I'm like her policeman. But also your policeman too, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. But anyways, yeah, I want to show this. You wanted to explain your open system and closed system, because the guy in the chat, I don't know what he's just talking some weird stuff. He's saying that a wind power that could be over Unity and so on. Well, COP, coefficient of performance, as the Thomas Bearden was saying, yeah. But
absolutely, it depends on we'll talk about this in a second, but it depends on what you define as your boundary. What is your system? So I think that's important to talk about because, you know, like people just throw out the blanket statement as if it's, you know, like encoded in the laws of science that, you know, these free energy devices, they all violate the laws of thermodynamics. And you can't say that without knowing exactly where your boundary is drawn and what you define as the system in the first place. And without knowing the difference between closed and open systems, you know, you're never going to understand those boundaries accurately.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I will show this to people because, like, to this day, I cannot state anything but that this is the simplest demonstration of free energy. Like, I showed you this one before. Like, did you remember this one? If you spin a gyro,
The gyroscope, yeah.
if you torque it, right, it doesn't lose any additional spin speed.
And I think these little I hesitate to call them anomalies. Maybe they're like little overlooked areas of science. I think there are a lot of them, like just areas that people overlook. Like you can say the same thing about synthetic AC, like just lumping for years two different types of waveforms into one, you know, alternating current category and obfuscating the difference between the two. You know, like just little things I think have been misunderstood or brushed aside as irrelevant like this. You know, we need to stack them up and use them as evidence.
But also, like, you know, like apparently the half-life of a proton is like beyond the age of universe or something. Like it's assumed to have an half-life, but it could just be
right.
It could just be a free energy, like a proton, just a free energy device. It doesn't. It'll never slow.
But yeah, like Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden often would say, you know, electrons have been spinning for billions of years, and there's no evidence to suggest that they're slowing down anytime soon. You know, like that's energy. It's being sustained by something, right?
Yeah.
You know, like if we can mimic that, then it's not a free energy device. We're just tapping into an energy source that was otherwise not visible on our spectrum.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Again, for me, I'm in this from 9/11 because 9/11, it's like that is as free energy proof as anybody needs. And then what I want to show is, okay, the Sack says no photos. When I go back to my work, I got my van from the same guy. He said the van was stripped down, put on a jig to get the twist out. What on earth did you hit? Look like a 100 mile an hour impact. Okay, so he said some more stuff. That's pretty. Yeah. So now this one. I have some STEM ones. Okay, so this guy was asking before, but I'm gonna open up Drew's setup here. He sent some stuff. I just haven't had the time to go over it all. This is a video, Unity 1 gyro. And I think I'm gonna go over to, where did it go? Here. Let's see what this video or something pops up. Okay, I'm gonna pop this out. Unity 1 gyro. Where did it go? This one. What file is this? What is this file? How do you open this one? I'm gonna say, how do you open the file? I'm gonna message him. How do I open the file? Yo, Drew, how do I open the file there? How do I open this? Is there a way to open this in my browser?
Huh.
Anyways, yeah, it was sending some stuff there.
Yeah, maybe some kind of 3D model asset file. Yeah, it is. It's
this is a video beforehand. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like I'm an experiment guy. I need to get a 3D model for Autodesk. You said
Autodesk, okay.
Yeah. Felt like a digger or mechanical grabber.
Well, I think it's important to have a visual to something, kind of like a complicated system you're trying to analyze, for example.
Okay, I'm gonna
drawing it out and stuff.
Paste this into here. Yeah, so he sent some more stuff. Okay, it's a 3D model. Okay, so I got that. No, first, when I got back to my he says when I got back to my work, I got my van from the same guy. He said the van was stripped down, put on a jig to get the twist out. What on earth did you hit? Looked like 100 mile an hour impact. It felt like a digger or a mechanical grabber had my passenger side and was shaking it all in a dust in the air. It felt like going over raised speed bumps until I started the engine. Interesting. All right, this is wild stuff.
That sounds terrifying.
Okay, so Drew's saying it's gyroscope EM induction field reactor. All right, so that's set up there. But the thing is, okay, so like the thing is, like, how do we get this in? Oh, that was a 3D model of this video. Okay, that was the video. Okay, so it makes sense now. So this is how it is, and he's saying it's a gyroscope EM induction field reactor. But yes, let me know when you created a nuclear bomb. All right. So, anyways, how are you doing for time? It's almost at 2 hour mark. Let me know what else do you want to discuss. I have some stuff. I want to bring up this part here because I ran the AI. First of all, I ran the AI, find accurate, inaccurate. This is what I always say about any person I'm not aware of. I always say this. Find accurate, inaccurate, and possible deceptive claims by John Bedini. But they said he's pretty much capable circuit designer whose pulse designs practical if limited value for certain battery recovery. Core physics is conventional, but he says no large-scale commercial free energy product emerged from the work. Is this part? Do you have any thoughts about this? Because it's how come none of this gained much ground? It's always just
Wait,
no.
say that again. No large-scale commercial free energy product emerged from the work of Bedini, consistent with the absence of verified net energy gain. For technical evaluation, prioritize full energy audits. Well, I think that boils down to two things. I think it boils down to most people who start out from a very skeptical point of view of debunking the system, they often don't build it exactly like Bedini described because they just don't understand the science that he was trying to convey to us. They don't understand it. They don't believe in it. And I think a lot of it is also to do with the fact that those who do build it correctly don't condition the battery properly, or even if we're measuring the efficiency of a properly conditioned battery, we're not going to be able to gauge the efficiency correctly with our standard meters. Bedini even said you're not going to pick up this extra energy with a standard meter, but I believe using something like a joule scope, you might be able to capture it. But
Yeah.
again, you're going into this as a standard engineer trying to debunk it. You're going to use RMS values and traditional grounded scopes and your traditional methods for trying to gauge the efficiency, and it's just not going to work.
No, I understand that part, but the key part is product. Like, is there any it's like how do we get something that regardless
I guess that
that
leads to the answer to that question, because there could be large industrial scale products. We have a huge Bedini motor that was built by a gentleman who just disappeared, but supposedly it produced so much over unity that the system got cold and had an endothermic reaction to the system, which is exactly what we see. These systems run very cold. Ambient temperature, they don't rise above ambient, whereas a traditional coil will get really hot. They require fans. They're very wasteful in that sense. But the reason is because these verifications, they simply failed. And once a verification fails, you assume, oh, there's no real practical application to expand this and scale it larger. So I think if people actually started from a correct, scientific position that was listening to what Bedini said and understanding the science that he was trying to convey, I think those verifications would have been more successful. There's just so much information that he throws at you, and it's not like all at once you get everything in one neat, convenient video. It's all scattered throughout like hours and hours of this vacuum from energy from the vacuum series. So, like, to begin with, it's not an easy process to piece things together when replicating his work. Nathan from Old Man Builds tried to build a Bedini motor and he couldn't get it right. It's not an easy thing to do if even when you listen to what Bedini said, just because the information's so fractured, you might be missing something important that he said that's in one video that you didn't see yet. It's unfortunate, but the process that I'm working towards is fixing that, rectifying it. So we have like a handbook on how the Bedini motor works, how to get it to work correctly, how to condition these batteries correctly, stuff like that. So,
I understand, but again, like, this is the part where this is the thing people don't realize. Like, this the mainstream has literally, you can buy a device, you can buy a battery, you can go plug your cord into the wall and power.
Oh yeah, no, there's
nobody. You don't need to
you can buy a Bedini motor. Yeah, you can buy a Bedini motor right now from kenergy.store and it'll work. And I've used it many times when the grid has gone down to charge a battery and power my lights.
We know that works. So I'm talking about like practical over unity like stuff, because right now we're all beholden to the grid. It's like
right. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm trying to
if
say.
you listen,
After how many
if
years? Yeah, that's
if
kind
you
of a thing.
believe that gentleman's story, I forget what his name was, but he built a giant Bedini motor. He built a giant one, and supposedly he got like a lot of over unity, and that is a large scale industrial application. If that story is
No,
true,
I know, but
right?
these are stories. I know. What I'm trying to say is like this is why it to make like noticeable change in the mainstream reality. It's like it needs to be something that anyone can go and get, and it can replace, or
Right.
even
Well,
just power, even just charge your your
that's the
phone.
problem. Well, that's the problem
That's
with
the
the
hard part.
Bedini motor.
Yeah.
It's not like the way you build it is not how you're taught to build standard circuits, right? So right off the bat, you're going against your instincts as an engineer building this thing.
Mhm.
And it's a slow process to condition these batteries. People like instantaneous power. It's really like useful right now in this state as an emergency off the
Yeah.
grid thing. But the system that we're developing with the vortex coil aims to try to fix that problem and make it simpler, make it like a simple do-it-yourself kit that you can throw together in an afternoon and get
Mhm.
actual the same result. Because the more I'm seeing this, what's happening in the system, the more I believe that we are getting some kind of similar return spike that we see in the Bedini motor. And if that's true, then these batteries are or could be partially being conditioned while they're running on the lights. So if that's something that I also eh, it's something that's hard to work around because like how do you prove something like that's happening, if it's happening. I took the battery off last night, and we had I couldn't do the thermal experiment I wanted to do because it was showing some really weird readings. At first I thought there was something wrong with my thermometer, but then I started thinking, like, what if this battery is undergoing a conditioning process while it's being running, and if there are plasmoids embedded in these plates, because that's not the battery that was conditioning. That's a normal battery. It shouldn't have any, negative conditioning in it. So, but I was seeing the temperature on the standard pulse recovery system, which usually gets to around 80 to 90 degrees. It gets really hot. It was actually getting a little colder as it was running. And that confused the hell out of me. And then I pointed the thermometer at my skin and it registered normal. So I'm like, well, it might not be a calibration issue with the thermometer. Maybe it's something to do with the actual system we're running. So these are all like variables that make it very difficult to get to the bottom of what's going on. But we can't just ignore the fact that that happened. I am going to recreate that experiment because that's an important experiment to document the thermal difference between a standard pulse recovery, which is really hot, and the Bedini, which runs really cold and does a better job. But that experiment I couldn't do last night because I was getting some really weird results, and the battery had been running on my system the whole live stream. So I'm wondering if that kind of affected the battery chemistry at all. It's a really complicated scenario. So I really can't say. But I do know that if we can have these plates analyzed in a conditioned battery, and they are conditioned with plasmoids, we will see evidence of that as crenulated iron microspheres, such as we see in the thunderstorm generator and Bob Greenyer's work analyzing it with a scanning electron microscope.
Yeah, but
So
Bob is a bit out there. Yeah, once he covered
I,
stuff, Bob is
yeah,
he's a known
I
liar.
would,
He's a liar. He's almost certainly a Freemason. He's also a liar. What I hate is being a liar. Liar. He
his father was a Freemason. I know that.
well,
And
he's, pretty much him too. Yeah, I know his father and his grandpa built a Freemasonic lodge.
but yeah, no, I used to follow him a little bit
Yeah,
in my earlier research, but I haven't really, because to be honest, in my opinion, like if I'm doing research and trying to understand something, it doesn't really help me if somebody, puts out a bunch of word salad. Like I need something
yeah.
summarized to me. So like talk to me like I'm in high school. And he just is so far out there with all his terminology.
It is. But he also sent an email where he said he was an
It makes it
author.
hard to understand its point, is what I'm saying.
Well, but also he is a liar. Like he lies about the atomic clock, and so on. But the other one is the yeah.
Well, you know what I say?
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak on Bob, but I do have a saying. And if something is more complicated than it needs to be,
Yeah.
generally speaking, that's usually points to evidence of a scam of some sort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and,
Or
like,
a
do you know,
lie or a
like,
manipulation.
do you know who Andrea Rossi is or whatnot? Apparently he was.
Yes.
So there's rumors that it seems pretty credible that he was a scammer, Andrea Rossi.
Interesting. I mean, they happen. They exist. I've come across them in my own research. You know, collaborating with different people. I've encountered.
No, I know, but
you know,
the person promoting him initially was Bob Greener.
Interesting.
This is New Energy Times. This guy, have you seen the video I posted? This guy actually interviewed Martin Fleischman. Like, you know, Martin Fleischman. Memorial
Yes,
Project?
yes. But I know Bob's had a couple of people on who I know are con men. So
well, yeah. They have Ashton Forbes and Jimmy Reese. Those are the biggest cartoon characters.
Oh, Ashton Forbes 100% is a con man.
Yeah, and they're good friends. And they actually I think I've showed you this before. I showed in my live stream. But where's the Telegram? Just disappeared. So if I go
That
here,
dude even dresses like a trust fund baby. Like
but
you couldn't be more mainstream if you tried.
Yeah, but the thing is, he also lies about me. He literally tweets to his
because he's jealous. He's jealous.
Well, he knows that
that's what happens.
But I'll show you.
It happens a lot.
I think he blocked it. I mean, it's blast. I think he put me on full. But yeah, so he literally went on his on his thingy. So here's what a remember, he has.
Ashton Forbes doesn't have a unique idea in his mind.
No,
he got popular from a
cartoon.
viral video, and then he spent his entire YouTube career, or whatever, social media career, trying to recreate that. But he has nothing. He doesn't have any original ideas.
And those were just cartoons. But anyway, so those are cartoons. But look, he has 300,000 followers on X, right? But look what he says. He says the other fun part was he tweeted about me. He clipped my live stream. Like, this is 101,000 views about clipping he clipped my live stream when I interviewed the guy that made the videos. So this guy is some Australian like he was drunk during my live stream, but he 100% he made the videos. He made these.
Listen,
videos.
and anybody, and I'm gonna tell everybody this over and over again until he gets blacklisted, because you know it's unacceptable to what's the word I'm looking for? Expose you know, somebody's real name when they're hiding behind an alias. Like I have an alias for a reason, for security measures. And I reached out to him because I was originally a fan of his work. I didn't know he was a con man at the time. You know, that's what makes them con men. They're confident in their lies. Yeah. So I reached out to him, and I unintentionally used my real name, my first name. And I didn't mean to. It was just I wasn't used to, you know, doing that sort, you know, having protocols set in place at that point. And, you know, he immediately exposed me on his Discord channel and told everybody my real name. Holy. because he was upset that I had the audacity to disagree with one of his ideas. And I was doing it in a respectful way. I wasn't like being a dick or anything. I was, because he said QAnon doesn't exist. And I was like, yes, it does. What are you talking about? And then he said he was going to have on the I forget his name, but he was considered the QAnon shaman at the time. Oh yeah, that guy. And I hated like that. I hated everything that guy stood for. Right. But he was a known QAnon participant. Like, so you can't tell me QAnon doesn't exist. And I'm like, why are you having on this guy who participated in, you know, terrorism against our capital? And he got really offended. And he's like, don't talk to, you know, insert real name here. He's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm like, what kind of low, pathetic piece of shit exposes somebody just because they don't agree with what you have to say? That's some authoritarian, like, grandiose narcissism right there.
Yeah, it is. But also, look what he clipped my live stream out. You can hear myself talking. So anyways, he clipped it out. But look what he says here. He says the other fun part was the guy platforming him is Math Easy Solutions. And 9/11 conspiracy nut job who went dark after Joe Lancarosa was exposed.
Yeah, so that's just all projection. He is the nut job who believes in the Malaysian flight video. I mean, we've already established that's using assets, whether it actually happened or not, or it's a recreation of something that actually happened. That's a possibility, but we know for a fact that video used standard assets that have been available for years.
You know, yeah, I know they're super fake, but I'm saying this guy made it. Like, you could take my word, he made it.
So, but no, I'm just saying, like, that's all projection. He is the fraud.
No, I'm
and
saying,
and
no, I'm
people
saying
like him
this
like to
guy.
project
No, not
their
that.
insecurities on other people.
No, I know. I'm saying the guy I interviewed, Joe Lancaster, made the videos. This guy here.
Oh, you're saying Joe he claims to make the
No,
video, the Malaysian flight video.
He did make. I have it on my show a couple times. He's supposed to.
But
join
you're
one.
saying the Malaysian flight video.
Yeah, he made them in 2014.
Wow.
For friends.
So, like,
whatever. He's an actual.
you have an interview. You have an interview with him. Send me the link.
Yeah, I've 2 interviews, but the guy was drunk when he was in the interview. The guy's like literally, but he made them. Like I'm.
Well, I mean, Ashton made his whole name off of this Malaysian flight conspiracy theory, and then someone comes around and debunks it. If he was a real scientist with, like, ethics, he would have been like, oh, maybe I need to relook or rethink about this. Maybe I was wrong. I do it all the time. I'm wrong all the time. But that's how we go and get corrected onto the right path. But it's very suspicious when somebody is presented with evidence that counters their theory, and they're immediately met with, you're met with anger or logical fallacies like straw men instead of actually engaging in the substance. That's, that's debate 101. Come on.
No, I know, but I want to emphasize again. Again, he also says I went dark. Look, I'm right here publicly calling him a clown. And look, I even replied to him here. I said, thanks
He's
for
clutching at straws now.
And I said, thanks for the shout out and blocking me. I even tagged Kim Kardashian and I have a clip of him. This one's pretty funny.
Find the person who made the videos or shut the fuck up.
Wait. He goes on a rant. I put it on. This is on the back.
Find the person who made the video.
Like the actual assets of the plane is the 3D model asset. It's the exact same setup. They all follow exactly the same setup. And if you also analyze in the physics of it, the plane is going slower than the stall speed. It would stall in the air based on the speeds that the coordinates that it was given.
Wow.
So everything about it is just fake. It's just fake or fake.
Interesting.
Yeah, the entire thing is just utterly fake. I
find it interesting. He's still on this Malaysian flight conspiracy and hasn't really expanded outside of it yet.
Well, and Bob Greener was on it too. Like you watch the Bob Greener saying that this has plasmoids and oh my goodness, man. Anyways, but all the photos, these are all photos from Japan. Like there's you can see Mount Fuji in them, and you could use 3D software that automatically triangulates them to match exactly how the photos would look like in the actual setup there.
But and does he explain like how he was he in the military? Is that how he knew like how the interface would look and all that stuff?
No, what do you mean? No, this is debunking. I don't know what you're trying to say. There's no all the
interface
are fake.
You said Joe created the video.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It looks accurate in terms of how something like that would look.
No, they don't look like that. They don't actually look like that. This is literally.
So they don't actually look. Okay, because I heard somebody talk about how it looked realistic in that sense, where the user interface.
It looks realistic to a person who's never seen an actual photo.
Okay,
video.
So that's actually inaccurate to say that it looks accurate.
No, it's not accurate in any way. It's literally, and the other thing is it's here 10x speed. The background are photos someone took on a plane.
Right, I'm not talking about the background. I'm talking about like all the readings and stuff you see on the side.
Those were just following the cursor of the actual like his actual mouse cursor. It's not an actual...
Oh, so that was built into his software he was using.
No. He did that. I think he made it based on this was after the MH370. He made that based on that missing one, but as if it was a UFO. Do you get what I'm saying? He made it using MH370 as a thingy, but the coordinates I think he may or may not somehow he just put it. I'll have to ask him again because he's supposed to join a live stream eventually. But I want to show.
I might be confused. Are you saying he made the original video or he recrecreated it?
He made the videos. Okay, the guy
Joe that came out like when what was the year that it came out?
2014. Joe Lancaster.
2014. Yeah. Okay. No, I'll have to watch your videos because I don't have enough context to.
So this guy,
like you see, I'm asking all these questions that are probably answered in the interview.
I have a playlist. I have a whole debunking setup too. Like it's not just like they're using actual photos from movies and so like actual animations from movies. The actual stuff is they actually cut out the actual plane and then move it because he made a mistake in the rendering, and he didn't want to re-edit everything. So then, so this one I made it one, but Bob Greener analyzing, and then versus me analyzing. But here, this is my video. You can hear me talking.
Same plane.
This is like from a few frames later. I'll show you at this one here. Can you see the background? It's all blurred. Oh, see how?
Yes.
But see around it. But watch around it. It's a cutout.
They copied out this portion and then made it bigger, but not necessarily made it bigger. It looks like actually they went backwards because the quality here. So if we go back to this one right here, so back 45 scaled up. So it's sharp. See the second. Let's go
back here.
So he didn't base the flying orbs off of any kind of science. He just thought it looked cool, and then Bob Greenyer came along and tried to fit it into a peg into a square hole or something.
Yeah. Bob Greenyer says he sees this in the lab. Like, well, show me a video. Like, show me something.
Yeah, no, because he talks about how it's the same process, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, I don't see the connection yet.
Yeah,
so,
but listen what he says here.
Into time and to fulfill a narrative to maybe discredit the work of the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, discredit some thermal imaging correctly representing and the non-radiating boundary and everything is beyond imagining. And unless there's some sort of Mandela effect where these things are being projected back into time and to fulfill a narrative to maybe discredit the work of the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, discredit the work of the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, discredit the work of the Martin Fleischmann.
I put the reverb there. Why would he say that? And
I thought you were gonna turn it into a song.
I should. Yeah, but it's just I get. But another thing in a private email, well, it's not private. It was a public email he sent. So I have a article I made on my site just for the doctor and others to get up to speed. This one, he also he said that he was an author of. So he emailed saying he was an author of a paper on Nature, and he said, and then he said I'm a co-author of a peer-reviewed Nature article, scientific paper, and he said it's like one of the most cited ever. But if you go to it, there's no mention of Greener anywhere in here, and it's not even a paper; it's an article. There's no Greener. Okay. This is again what I mean by he's a liar. He's a charlatan, and
he fluffed up his credentials, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and if you copy and paste the actual paper that's referenced, this is but a Google funded project. Yeah, you paste it in here, right? Revisiting the cold fusion and he's not a co-author. He's nowhere to be found. What is going on?
What I don't get is Bob Greenyer has a background in audio video production, right? Yeah. He has a background in audio video production. He owned an audio video production company, I believe, and he, out of anybody, should be able to see that evidence that we were presented about the video and say, hey, this might not be what we think it is. It might be fake. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but
he didn't. He doubled down on it.
He says it doesn't matter if it's fake or not. It shows real plasmoids and other.
He hasn't made, in my opinion, and I think in yours too, he hasn't made that connection clear.
But it's also the other part. He's lying about atomic clocks too. Like, have you seen this video I made?
You did mention that, yes, and I found that interesting.
But he knows about this because I've been calling it out everywhere, and then in that email. He doubled down in an email, but I didn't want to reply because I kind of think he's like MK Ultra. I think he's like mind-controlled.
You think they got to him too?
Well, no, I think he was beyond before. Like his dad, right? He said that his dad. I have a whole bunch of lists here. Martin Fleischmann. His dad went to the same school as Martin Fleischmann. So his dad is a Freemason. Went to the same school, and then he said that during that whole cold fusion, he was actually observing that the whole time. Okay, yeah, so, but it's interesting, he also says his dad programmed him as a kid. I'm like, what the? So you can see right here, it's a Freemason clip here. Ready to go? Oh, whoops.
In the future.
Whoops.
And I actually...
Where's the, this one here? I want to get to this part. I have a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah, you have this all well documented. I'm impressed.
Well, because I wanted to show, one of my subscribers, he says, hey, why are you going after Bob? It's someone he says, I think you owe Mr. Greener an apology. And then
if somebody's spreading misinformation, it has to be called out, right?
No, but I called him out, and then he said, eventually he said, okay, he said, sorry. He says, apologies for asking you to apologize to Bob Greener. He says that right here. Where's the part right here? He says,
like, I'll be the first to tell you if I'm incorrect on something, please correct me so I am correct. Like, I'm not gonna double down on my incorrect view just because I don't want to look bad. That's just ridiculous to me. Like, I'm interested in progress, not, you know, petty ego squabbles.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to get to the point that I not screenshotted properly. It's, the part where he apologizes for apologizing. Okay, I think I gotta find that. He says, okay, somewhere there. I'll find the link here. I do want to find it just because it's good for documenting. Because one of the subscribers, he got mad. Drew says not Bob. No, Bob is a huge scammer. Yeah. Okay, Drew just says not Bob. Obviously, he's a scammer. He also he lies about his writing article. Let's go, Martin. No, Bob. Why can't I just find? I hate YouTube or like right here, just the thingy. Okay, I will find this. Apologies. He said it's somewhere here. I don't know where it went. Okay, it might be somewhere in here. Apologies. Yeah, it says right here. It says, I want to express my sincerest apologies for the initial comment. Yeah, after he's asking me to apologize to Greener, he apologized. He's done interviews. And things he's interviewed the Astroforbes guys.
Buzzword Bobby's Bullababa.
Yeah.
Who made that image? That's hilarious.
I made the image, but but I initially just said Bob Greener's word salad, but the Andrew Johnson actually gave this part here, gave the title at the bottom. So I made that. It's pretty good.
You forgot radiating boundary.
Okay.
No, that's funny. I'm sorry. That's funny.
No, because once you start laughing, that's why I made this. Like again, I made this because like I don't like even it's spoofs. I don't want to waste too much time on them. But two reasons. I didn't want Norman kept promoting this guy. For 9/11, anyone that gets close to 9/11, like if you were started making videos by 9/11, and if you got stuff like a bit way too wrong, I'll be making videos about you. But anyways,
right? No, but I'm to be honest, like I go into it as a student first, and then a teacher. So I don't really try to teach people unless I have a good grasp of the subject. So a lot of times when I'm on live stream, I'm learning things just as much as I'm teaching them. So yeah, like I emphasize, if I get something wrong, please correct me. I'm not going to take it personally.
Yeah, and then Rotary Matrix says he was laughing when you mentioned radiating boundaries in my kitchen or something.
One back in 2014.
Yeah. After we're finished here, I do want to go and just touch real quick on the thermodynamics because that is important, and I keep forgetting to.
Okay, we'll go to that, and then I want to show him talking about radiating boundary. And so he says this little blob is this.
It looks like this. Okay, that is the bit that changes epsilon 0. Okay,
changes epsilon 0.
Permittivity. Or
yeah, so like, unless you're a physicist, what the fuck does that mean? You know, like, what does that mean?
And it's pulling it in here. It's correctly facing forward as it is at the moment. And so what you would want to do is you would want to bring these in.
Okay, anyways, okay, I'll close some stuff. So I have another playlist as well. Bob Greener says the darnest things. You've seen the other one where Okay.
Oh, that's funny.
What I'm trying to say is I have unlimited material. Just go to any 3-hour live stream interview he has. Every minute is like mind-boggling. Like.
But there's a reason why I stopped watching his videos because I never learned anything. He never really explained it in a way that I could understand. At least maybe somebody like has some level of understanding from what he's saying, but I don't. So I never got anything from it.
Yeah, because I saw, and he also saw the comment where he says that if Hitler won, we would have UFOs.
Like the most information I got from Bob was understanding how plasmoids leave evidence behind, and when he was analyzing the microspheres. But in terms of the context of what he was saying and all that, I can't speak for if that's accurate or not. And,
well, and also if the images he's showing is from a real sample, like he's just making up some stuff, like from
that. I hadn't considered that. I try to assume the best of people, but to be honest, there are people with nefarious intentions who will do something like that.
Yeah, so I think if you want to see, this is one where he's talking about micro ball lightning when you do the yoga pose. Like, you talked about word salads, right? Have you seen this one or no?
Yeah.
Have you seen this clip?
I haven't. No, play it.
Okay, we'll play this one clip and then we'll go back to your setup because this is This was the first time a subscriber sent me. He's like, "Hey, what in the world is Bob talking about?" This was 2 years ago. That's why, and I put it now. He's like, "What in the world is going on here?" I'm like, "Okay, let's play it here."
The simplest way to understand what an exotic vacuum object is because have you ever experienced where you've gone up across a nylon floor or you're wearing certain clothes, it's dry, and then you have a spark coming out of your finger and you go, "Oh, someone's got shot." Or you do it on a doorknob or some grounded object.
Yeah.
What's happening there is you have all charge on your body and there's something that's flowing out of your body. And this forms the toroidal structure and it produces a microball lightning coming out of your finger. But the flux is always coming out of your finger. And you can see this in Kirlian photography. So you put your hand down on a radiographic plate and you get your body charged and you see these things coming out of the points. Why? Because you get a space charge increase at a point. And the points on your body that are most pointy for most people are your fingers, right? Now, when you have this coming out of your body and you go into this position, I mean, specifically this position, right? When you are meditating, you have these structures coming out producing an ether vortex, and you have these structures coming out producing an anti-ether vortex. That produces the magnetic loop here, or the toroidal moment through the center. And that is able to interact with the dark matter that is flowing into the earth, which is a model of gravity.
Okay, what just happened? Anyways,
I didn't.
Did you?
I mean,
did you
bits
grasp
and
that?
pieces make bits and pieces.
Yeah, you have a toroidal
I
structure.
understand.
You have ball lightning. You said dark matter, gravity within like 3, and then yeah. So
But when he starts talking about toroidal structures, like I feel like there's context there that he's just brushing over.
Yeah, but also if you want to see the beforehand, he was talking about ancient Egypt's pyramids. It's got another toroidal structure where you have the golden ratio. Anyways, it's like a random. It's like imagine you ask AI a question, but it says, "But give me the answer with random words thrown, random technical words splattered all around, and don't worry about the order or accuracy." Yeah, so
Well, the way I see it is take a subject and make it sound the most impressing and complex instead of simplifying it. Like it's the opposite of what I would do. I try to simplify it so like a kid could understand. But this sounds like he's doing the opposite, where he's using big words to make it sound more complicated and make it seem more impressive. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, that's what narcissists do. They make, you know, themselves grandiose.
He is, and then again, he was also I think I mentioned before, but he was kicked out of John's lab by his wife Nancy. So
really, Bob Grenier was kicked out.
Yeah, he was gonna write a
Why?
book. Well, there's two sides to it. They're both a bit tough to deal with, but you can see Nancy brings it up in the live stream. But again, I know too much. I don't want to say stuff. So like, if I ever call anybody a spook, you better believe. You don't even need to like. Here, Nancy discusses kicking Bob out at the 2:34:40 mark. This is public. The only reason I'm showing
Don't say that around when Nancy's around, because I'll slap you up in the mouth and kick you the fuck out. I will.
No,
You know,
no.
ask Bob Grenier.
She's gonna slap Bob.
No, she was saying,
He must have-
she was talking smack to me because I said, "Hey, just as a half joking, John, we could do make an anti-gravity experiment in your lab." And she's like, "No, you don't do that." So anyways, you gotta be very, very careful with elderly women. Again, that's what I said. If you join the live stream with Dr. D Wood, you better read up on your book, otherwise I might have to just mute you on the thing. But this is Nancy. We're good now. I was able to calm her down, but she mentions Bob Grenier. Listen.
Grenier. Bob Grenier.
No.
Yeah, ask Bob Grenier. Bob Grenier tried to take John's papers. You know, he came in was saying he's going to copy them, and all of a sudden they're gone, and he's I'm going to give you $5,000 for them, and I'm like, no, and we're ready to call the cops, literally.
Wow.
Because
but the other
that's
side,
inexcusable. No, that's inexcusable.
Yeah, but I got from the other side from because Bob went with Yin Gazda. You know Yin? That was John's former partner.
Okay.
She's the one that videotaped and a lot of the footage that you see of Thomas Bearden, like in documentaries, she's the one filming and interviewing, but she doesn't want to be in camera. It's like Yin Gaz doesn't want to who filmed Thomas Bearden. Like she had Thomas Bearden at her house, and I think she went to his house as well, or him to her house and interviewed him. Like at, anyway. So he gave me the other side of the story. So they're a bit, yeah. But I'm just saying, it's a bit next level.
Well, I mean, if that's true, like, and it's not like a situation where she just filmed it on accident, you know, and they didn't realize it.
What do you mean? What no film? No, which one are you talking
They
about?
actually took John's papers.
Well,
and
apparently he was paying $5,000, and then he was gonna. It was all part of the plan. He was just gonna go and scan it. But I think.
Oh, so it was a miscommunication, maybe.
It could be miscommunication, but yeah. But I don't know though. Just because the reason I'm saying could, just because Bob's a bit out there. Nancy's a bit out there, so it's like
I know these guys, their personalities get really quirky, and some of them are hard to work with, so I don't want to assume, but yeah, if that's true, that like I don't want to imagine a situation where somebody's trying to steal John's stuff. That's terrible.
Yeah, for sure. And Society of High actually made a good point. It says Bob keeps jumping around using buzzwords, but the concepts aren't actually interconnected in an engineering sense. It's designed to confuse people, make them feel dumb if they ask for clarification. Yeah, for sure. But also, he was on my live stream. I'm not sure.
Right, like he has all the answers. But no, I find it very fascinating because Bob has had on Ashton, who doesn't know his ass from his face. He's had on Bernie, the crypto alchemist, who hasn't shown one mathematical formula or number to arrive at his conclusions. He has no evidence to support his ideas. He just shows a bunch of water that's miscolored and oxidized in different states of oxidation. But I send him my highly well thought out synthetic AC model with all the evidence and all the math and all the proof, and he doesn't respond. So I just find it really fascinating.
Yeah, and it's not just like they talk on live stream. They're actually meeting up and going Cosmic Summit. That's Ashton. Like how tall he is.
Right, and Bernie is heading up Tesla Tech, and I think that's ridiculous. I saw his presentation. It's a bunch of word salad. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and yes, okay. So I'll get to the Bernie guy in a bit. So this is Jeremy Reese. He's alleged wife beater and girlfriend like chaser with a machete.
He looks like a piece of shit, to be honest. Like that look.
He actually is, and that's the one that who showed Bob the cartoons before Ashton. That's apparently, and then look.
And Ashton looks like the kind of person who would beat up a homeless man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he probably has. And then now I think Bernie, where's that Bernie guy? Okay, where's the Alchemist Crypto? And then Jeremy. I think Jeremy Reese. Okay, so it's Crypto Alchemist Bernie. Is this the guy? Or is it
that's the same guy. Yep, that's him.
Yeah. So now he had a live stream calling out Jeremy Reese. He's saying the fake fraud named Jeremy Reese gatekeeper and woman abuser and woman abuser. Let's go.
Yeah, he's always got some kind of drama he's trying to start with somebody.
Yeah, but this is all accurate about Jeremy Reese. Like making a live stream calling someone a woman abuser, that you can get sued if you're not.
Well, I mean, whether it's true or not, I'm just trying to say he's always looking for a reaction.
So this guy's a scammer too. Okay. Exactly.
Oh yeah, I believe it. I believe he's some kind of narcissist.
Yeah.
If you look at the league in our past live streams, every time that I've tried to present something important and it's my turn to present, he'll always interrupt. He once interrupted in the middle of my presentation to advertise one of his custom-made Tesla coils, and I'm like, dude, that's so fucking rude. Like only a narcissist would do that. Just fucking calm down and wait your turn.
Which streams was this?
Oh, he's been on the League of Extraordinary Inventors many times.
Oh, those ones. Okay, yeah.
And in other streams too. But it's a pattern. It's not something that happened once.
Yeah.
And he's very condescending and he's very passive aggressive to me when I ask a question in a very respectful way. He's lied. I've caught him lying flat out. Like he said, oh, we can't recreate. He was in California. He's like, we can't recreate my cold fusion reactor because California regulations don't allow you to mix electrolysis with aluminum. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not a thing.
Oh yeah, this is pretty wild. Especially now with AI, it's easier to make up stuff. Like you get like, hey, AI, give me a storyline for a. You could give me a storyline for a grifter, a scammer, and then he'll copy.
He's not creative enough for that.
Yeah. That is pretty wild. But yeah,
no, it is frustrating because you know, you have to interact with these people sometimes, and some of them are malignant narcissists, and they are out to hurt people and make themselves look better in front of everybody. And it's just, how do you can't work with somebody like that? You know, it's a toxic person.
Yeah, for sure. I actually, so especially with Jeremy Reese, I actually called him alleged woman abuser when he was in the chat, and then he says, "Oh no, you're believing my wife. That's this is just lawfare against him." He thinks that the law is being used against him as if he's some sort of victim. I'm like, no, you're
beating your wife isn't wrong. The law is wrong. We should be able to beat our wives to our heart's content. That's his.
Yeah. What's interesting is he was in the military, and Ashton Forbes has a military clearance. They both like domestic. So I'm gonna go.
Well, that's scary to think about because Ashton Forbes is an idiot.
Yeah, so Ashton Forbes has
he shouldn't have no kind of
clearance.
He shouldn't even be handling the car. He shouldn't even be handling the car wash.
But I was over here, so here I was able to connect his account exactly with his name and where he lives, and confirm that he is currently in a domestic abuse / divorce custody battle for his children. So you can go state of Rhode Island versus Jimmy Reese. Again, this is Bristol County. That's him, misdemeanor, domestic violence, and this is Jeremy Reese, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I grew up with domestic violence in my household, and I have a very cold place in my heart for people like that. Like I despise people like that. You know, because I grew up with in an abusive situation, you know, where that was kind of taking place, and that affects people around you, that affects the victims, and it's not something that people get over easy if that happens to you. So I really feel bad for whoever his victim was, and I hope that, you know, she's doing well now without his piece of shit ass.
Yeah, and it says right here, part of the thing, complaint for custody support, but also Jimmy Reese said affidavit as to military service, so it's like he was in military as well. And yeah, so it's pretty wild.
Like punch the wall, punch a fucking, you know, like punch anything. Don't put your hands on somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're being attacked and you need to defend yourself, like there's no excuse for that.
It is, and he was in the news. I think this is a recent thing, but in the news like 15 years ago, for chasing his girlfriend with a machete.
Oh my god,
an axe or a
that's something psychotic. That's absolutely psychotic.
Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, that's Jeremy Reese for you.
Like,
and again, to illustrate that point again. So this is a guy that Crypto Alchemist is comfortable to do a live stream calling him a woman abuser in the title too, right? And then
well,
that's the same guy that Bob,
you know what they say, when in Rome.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? That's the same guy Bob is hanging out with.
Yeah, no, they're all suspicious to me. They all have massive issues. Like I have a personal grievance against Forbes, obviously, because of what he did to me, and that inexcusable behavior. But you know, all these people are very suspicious. You know, at the very least.
Yeah, and but also about the cartoons. This is make it 10x speed, and if you track where all the images go, like the actual images with the each frame, nothing moves but the plane and like the trail. Like it's like
the cloud just stays still.
Like it's supposed to move throughout, but there's nothing moving. It's as if the beginning.
Right. So, clouds aren't stagnant. They
well,
move.
yeah, you could be like this point here. A minute later, nothing changes. So it's like, what? How in the world have you ever seen that happen? And nothing's not even like a pixel. Not even a pixel's moving.
Yeah, see, that's very telling right there, because clouds, no matter if they look like they're standing still, they're always moving.
Yeah, and Ashton actually he actually retracted this. So Ashton. If I go right here quickly, Ashton, I think he retracted. He actually retracted and he deleted his. They apologize. And then, yeah, so he actually deleted it, and then he removed. Actually, no, he had another one. He said he had a free energy device, but it was actually like a video he stole from someone 14 years ago. He said he was gonna sell. He was selling a free energy device for like $50,000.
See, that's what started to make me believe that he was straight up like conning people. He was a scam artist, not just lying.
You've seen this one about his over Unity device?
I haven't seen this specific video, but I've heard him describe the device and try to sell access to the device. And inside, you have to sign an NDA. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
It is, yeah, it's an NDA. But the person is actually the person was a YouTuber that made it like years ago, and then he put in the description he has no affiliation with Ashton Forbes in any way.
Like first of all, if you have a true free energy device that is very useful already, and you're keeping the secret to it and not open sourcing it, you're putting yourself at risk. And good luck with that.
Yeah, it says here over Unity announcement. Ashton Forbes asking for 40% deposit down. Good luck getting a refund. Yeah, but I wanted to say he actually deleted. So he actually retracted saying that the videos are fake, but then I think he deleted it after. Yeah, so here.
He said the videos are fake.
Oh yeah, okay. So
he didn't actually have a device. He just had the videos of it.
Oh no! I'm talking about not that. I'm talking about the actual MH370 videos.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So this one here. So he actually said that I can no longer claim. Because remember I showed you that these clouds, they all match up. So and then the guy who took photos of them came out as well. He says I can no longer claim the videos are authentic due to this evidence and so on. And then but he says because no one came out, he says we're not giving money. But anyways, he deleted that full post. I archived it because he deleted it.
So he did retract on his opinion about the Malaysian flight video.
But then he deleted it and then he went back.
And he deleted it and he went back on it.
So I have the archive. So
you know why he probably did that is because all of his views are from the Malaysian flight content.
Yeah.
He created a persona around it and he can't recreate the viral lottery that he won. That's the problem with not being original and winning the viral lottery. You spend your entire career trying to recreate something that happened with literal magic, like something that's out of your control.
It is, but this guy was also quite an interesting guy. He was also before this. He was part of the COVID. He was suing the state or something for their mask mandates. So that was all right. Yeah, get off the mask. But then it's like you have to have. He's the anti-vaxxer mixed with MH370. So it's kind of like. You kind of mix in all the conspiracies you lump them up. That's the thing that the control oppositions do.
Yeah, you can't blend your conspiracies together nonchalantly like that. You got to be organized with them and make connections intentionally.
yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like they want to make him. So anytime when someone says, "Hey, what about conspiracies?" they'll point at Ashton, like, "Hey, are you like Ashton Forbes or Alex Jones?" and all that. So, anyways, it's been like almost. It's almost 3 hours. We'll go over what did you want to end with. I think you wanted to talk about the open versus closed, or what did you?
Yeah, it'll only take like a few minutes. I just wanted to emphasize what thermodynamics is first of all, because there's this common misconception in this area of fringe science that any free energy device is impossible because it violates the laws of thermodynamics. Well, that's not entirely true. As I'm doing my research and learning more, I'm learning more about different areas of physics and thermodynamics, the branch of physics that studies how heat, work, temperature, and energy move, and change in physical and chemical systems. We have to go back to the basics to understand why this is a misconception, to just flat out label all these devices as violating laws of thermodynamics. So, this is mainly because these laws include two different kinds of systems, and we only utilize one type of system in our electronics, and that's the closed system. And there's another type of system that is underutilized called an open system. And it's a system that's maintained by an external gradient of some sort, such as a slope in the environment that creates running water where water would otherwise be stagnant, right? So you add no water in this instance. You added no energy physically. You didn't input anything to the system. You just changed the geometry of the environment by producing a slope, and the water is moving and producing usable work as a result of that environmental gradient. So again, this is an analogy where we go back to geometry as being the key to understanding the mechanisms at play in these types of systems, the open systems. Now, going back to field cavitation, field cavitation theory is a theory that is caused from specific geometry, such as in the vortex coil. Just as Malcolm Bendel's thunderstorm generator, or just as in his thunderstorm generator, how cavitation forms the structured plasma or plasmoids that tap into this vacuum energy and release usable work in various forms, such as light, sound, and electromagnetic radiation. Frequency is then used to manipulate those plasmoids. So we have two very similar systems in my work and Malcolm's work. And he's actually commented on the synthetic AC hypothesis we're working on in a very positive manner, suggesting that I could be onto something big. So if these theories pan out to be correct, we've successfully, demystified the Roland coil. Again, for years, the unique effects of this coil have been wrapped around the enigma of vortex math theory, just out of reach for engineers to apply. With this new model, we finally have a starting point, a bridge that attempts to close that gap between the esoteric teachings of VBM and the standard engineering practices we know and love. So in that light, we also include Tom Bearden's asymmetric regauging principles, along with Nikola Tesla's impulse ideas and John Bedini's pulse recovery systems. But the idea that we have two different kinds of systems is important, because how you define your system and its boundaries tells you where your inputs are coming from. So what I mean by this is, imagine a closed seal pot of water, right? This is analogous to a closed system. If we're analyzing it just as the pot of water, and say you have it on a oven or something. So it's sitting on top of an oven and it's being heated up from the bottom. Now you include that oven into the boundary as your input, and you still have a closed system, right? But if you imagine now that pot of water with that oven is actually inside a volcano. So now you draw the boundary for your system as including the surrounding environment, the heat that's being produced from it's an environmental gradient, a thermal gradient. So now you've included additional input that was otherwise not included in your system. So this is the difference when we say we're drawing, or this is the difference when we try to draw our boundaries between closed and open systems, right? We're simply defining the system in a different way. So to say that any free energy device automatically violates the laws of thermodynamics, well, that's not accurate to say until you actually define the boundaries of your system. Because there are systems that do get additional energy from the environment without your input. You can see this as a river or a spinning wind turbine. These are all using environmental gradients that you don't have to add anything that actually produce work. So these are open systems, and the way you calculate the efficiency of them are different. But contrary to what even I believed, there are no separate laws of thermodynamics for open and closed systems. Open systems still satisfy those laws of thermodynamics, the laws of entropy, the laws of energy converting and not being able to be created or destroyed. Those are still active. We're just accounting for additional inputs that otherwise wouldn't be accounted for that are in our environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can't just say all these devices violate the laws of thermodynamics until you define what exactly is the boundary of your system. What are you defining as the system? Because there are systems that achieve a COP greater than 1. Heat pumps, perfect example. They can get up to 500% COP, or a COP of 5, 500% efficiency. It's not a secret that actually happens. But the difference is where you're defining that boundary and where your inputs are coming from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that part in this. I think it was from this one here, Energy from the Vacuum introduction, Thomas Bearden one. Yeah, so this is the Energy from the Vacuum series, the guy I was mentioning. Because I saw this one here. A lot of interesting stuff there. But how do heat pumps get a COP of over unity?
So they're tapping into an environmental gradient, a thermal gradient in the environment. So they're grounded in the earth.
Okay, then sometimes it's gonna be hotter, sometimes colder, and so on. Okay.
I'm not exactly sure the mechanism of action for a thermal pump, but I do know that it taps into the environmental gradient in a way that allows it to produce a COP greater than 1. And it is worth exploring how that happens, but I just haven't gotten there in my research yet. You know, there's so many things that I have to learn about. I can't speak to the accuracy of that. All I can tell you is that it's something that happens, and you know, I am going to eventually look into stuff like that. But
yeah, I just want to find this beard in 9/11. So because where's okay, yeah, here it is. So. Yes, this is an email. Again, Thomas Bearden. He was actually asked about Dr. Judy Wood. If we go here, but then he goes on a tangent saying some. Okay, why did it go like that? Okay,
I'm gonna actually ask AI real quick because that's so. Like, I have a pet peeve about unanswered questions. So real quick, it says heat pumps get a heat pumps get a coefficient of performance over 1 because they move existing heat instead of making it. Electricity runs through the compressor and fans to shift thermal energy from the outside air or ground into a home. Moving heat takes less power than creating it from scratch. So that's the basic idea. It's simplified. It's just tapping into the environment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And the thing people don't realize, it's like we're assuming you can get energy from the ether or even just like a magnet. Let's say if you imagine you were able to get energy from it, even though a magnet can like stick on itself forever. Like imagine.
Magnet is a perfect example. It's an often overlooked device because we think we know in mainstream science how magnets work, but in reality, we're just describing what's happening instead of explaining why. You know, we don't really have an answer why 2 magnets attract to each other in between empty space. Like, you know, lines of magnetic force, you know, invisible lines of force, and you know, the spin of the magnets don't really make sense of why they attract to each other over empty space.
Yeah, and also, well, they call it pole. They have a pole, they have a charge. Well, you're just defining something, and then you're assuming that a pole connects to another pole.
Right. But if you introduce the luminiferous aether as a medium that's being spun up by those magnets, you know, go back to our pool of water analogy that you've shown. You know, that actually is a mechanism that makes sense, that is actually at play in our reality, right? You know, if the medium exists, this is a mechanism that could actually explain, you know, why magnets attract over empty space.
Yeah.
You know, they're spinning up an invisible medium that's creating a current between the 2 magnets, just like spinning cylinders in water.
Yeah, for sure. And then here is the COP of the heat pump. I like images. Like here's an image. Goes in. There's the environment, heat, air, ground, water, and then you can have more depending on what's coming in. Yeah, so yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. If you have someone with a bunch of hot air, you'll have it over a COP. So if you have Bob Greener in the room, you're gonna have a COP. It's over 9,000. And actually, I like this heat pump there. I'll put this here, COP. I'll put it in here because it's good stuff to have. Yeah, COP over 9,000. Yeah, okay, one more thing, is, I want to go, because I asked Grok about, I asked this about everybody on Grok, so the Malcolm Mendel, what I'm interesting is that he said that he had some sort of visions or something. I just want to get to that part. Where's the visions? The God one here. So with theoretical foundation plasmoid unification model, Mendel frames a device in a personal mode, mixing plasmoids, cavitation, vortex, implosion dynamics, sacred geometry, frequencies, hermetic texts, theosophy, occult ideas, ether, earth cycles, biblical references, and a 1977 vision from God. Okay, that's the part I'm like, do you know about that, or the vision, or no?
I don't, but I mean, if you listen to Malcolm, he talks about, you know, speaking to the plasmoids that he supposedly embedded in his body. Like he supposedly went through a process where he electrocuted himself with a bunch of negative electricity embedded with plasmoids, and he can supposedly speak to them now. I'm curious as to why they didn't warn him that Donald Trump was a psychopath. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like that's
he's an actor. He's a comedian. He's literally a reality TV host, hosting reality.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, like they warned me. I knew he was a psychopath for years.
Is he?
we had a brief podcast together, and I tried not to talk about politics, but I didn't know he was a Trump supporter.
Oh, what? Is he a
And,
QAnon
you know, it wasn't
supporter?
really like,
Is he a QAnon supporter too?
no, but
Okay.
he did speak about supporting Trump and
What in the
how
world?
Biden would start World War III. And I think it's very ironic now that we're sitting here on the verge of World War III with Trump as the main cause.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's just like, it goes to show you that somebody can be really, really intelligent in one area and just,
yeah,
you know, not really have any clue in another area. And that often is the case with politics, with scientists in our fringe area. Like, I see it all the time, people confusing communism with you know, like what actual systems we have now. Like, there's no country that proclaims itself to be communist, yet I hear people, you know, in our circles saying, oh, communist China, communist Russia. I'm like, no, these systems are capitalist, dude. They're socialist, but that's a mixed system. It includes private and public businesses. So it's more complicated than you would think, but I think they assume they know everything there is to know about the subject, so they don't want to learn anything more. And it's unfortunate, because if I get even the inkling that I'm wrong about something, I try to look everything up, everything possible, to know everything about the subject, to answer my questions thoroughly as I can, no matter the subject. You know, it's politics and economics are important, and people who find them too boring to look into properly, you know, like Ken Wheeler.
Oh yeah, Ken Wheeler. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Ken Wheeler, he does a great disservice to his audience by confusing, you know, like basic propaganda with, you know, or propaganda with basic Marxist principles. You know, he would go on his live stream and say, oh, California has a law that any rainwater you collect on, or you can't collect any rainwater on your property without paying a tax. And I'm like, dude, that's not, first of all, that's not private property. That's on industry, right? That's on, that's regarding businesses, not private property. Second of all, that's not a Marxist idea that rainwater should belong to everybody. He said that. He said it's a Marxist idea that rainwater belongs to everybody. That's not what Marxism is about. Marxism is a scientific study of capitalism's internal contradictions. And when Marx said private property, he didn't mean your personal property. Personal property is what we think of when, with Marx thinks of when we say private property, right? Your personal house is what Marx considered personal property. Private property to Marx was anything that could be used for the means of production. That's capital, that's industry. So when you say that you can't collect rainwater on private property, to Marx, that's anything that can produce from capital, not your personal house, your toothbrush, or anything like that. So it's a conflation of the basics of Marxism, right? Marx was about analyzing a class system, right? And how it fights against each other and inevitably leads to its own demise. And he studied this in economic systems before capitalism. So it's a scientific study. Now, socialism is different. Socialism is an ideology. Marxism is not. Socialism is the ideologies that arrive from those theories that Marx had that say, hey, there's a problem here. Marx never said, here's the solution. But other people came along, interpreted his scientific work and said, oh, here's a solution this is a form of socialism. This is a different form of socialism. So it's a very big disservice to your community when you're confusing these basic ideas, because his scientific analysis is the only thing that can really describe what's happening in our economic system right now, why we are seeing so much contradiction, so much wealth is being generated, but people are struggling so much. And not just in America, around the world, we're seeing the US dollar collapse. We're seeing, other countries struggle where they were thriving for years. It's not an isolated incident. It's the system succumbing to its internal contradictions. And sorry to go off on this tangent, but it's important not to confuse these ideas, because, people fearmonger Marx's ideas. But in reality, he was doing a scientific analysis of our system. He wasn't saying, hey, this is what we need to do about it, right? He fought for workers' rights in any way he could, but he didn't lay out an extensive blueprint of how to get past our current economic system. He just said, hey, here's a problem. People need to start paying attention.
Yeah, that's a nice mic drop. Yeah. I actually learned a lot from I saw your videos here. This one here on you posted on FreeSpeak. Actually, your best video is $3.42, man. That's pretty good. The one on how capitalism suppresses free energy.
Right.
Yeah,
That goes,
good.
yeah, if anybody's interested in that goes over,
Yeah.
you know, like Ken Wheeler and his logical fallacies. And it is really dangerous because these people are really smart in one area, but they really do a disservice when speaking on areas they just know little
it's
about.
like the Dunning-Kruger effect. But okay.
Right, exactly.
But another thing I want to just show, because before we end, Tammy said that Malcolm Bendel it's just something that he mentioned. He talked about Bob Greener, and said that. Let me see where it was. I gotta find where. I copied it. I'm gonna just paste it here. I copied her comment. I can't find where it is. Paste it right here. It says this. She said Bendel called Greener out several times, and it says I broached Greener on a live. He and his gang laughed it off. Okay, so apparently Bendel.
Oh, so Bendel even called him. You know, I do recall now that you read that I think there was some kind of beef between them or some kind of conflict when they were presenting the thunderstorm generator together at some point. So I don't know if this is the same incident or a different one, but they did have some friction.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, just because yeah.
I think from what I recall, Grenier would challenge Malcolm on things, and honestly, looking back, he could have been challenging things that he didn't really fully understand, and Malcolm was probably looking at him like, "What are you talking about, bro?"
It's like, yeah, where is this? Where's your pet plasmoid at? He always has plasmoids for everything. It's pretty.
He's got it on a little string flying like a bee. Oh,
yeah,
man.
just showing up. Okay, now I'm gonna show this last video, and I'm gonna have to head out. I haven't even eaten.
Yes.
Well, this is
Yeah,
the
I gotta
Randy
head
Powell.
out too, but
Yeah, it's Randy Powell one. This is the same one. The one that's spinning it. I think it's the first one I've seen before.
This is Jack. I wanted to follow up and show you how isolated this
So this is Jack Scholes. Jack Scholes doing this.
thing really is.
Jack
So
Scholes.
the power here's. Let's connect the power up for the little neo ball spinner to get the
I've
thing
actually
going.
not heard his
Okay, so there.
Voice? Or what?
Yeah, so I've only seen the one without him talking. So this is interesting.
Yeah, because I will try to get. I will want to find the original. I never want to just. It's like that's why in like any documentary thing or make a compilation, I always put the link to the original, because like I don't like seeing a documentary. For personal, it's good, but for like sharing to somebody, I don't want to share like a 3-hour video. I gotta clip which one.
Well,
it's like
I'm interested in hearing what he says.
Yeah, let's go from the beginning and let's play the whole thing.
Oh, hi, this is Jack. I wanted to follow up and show you how isolated this thing really is. So the power here's. Let's connect the power up for the little neo ball spinner to get the thing going. Okay, so there it goes. There's the neon flashes sometimes, and there's the power light. And so now I can show you disconnect the power altogether. Yeah, disconnected the power. Now I'm going to pick up the cup. Picking up the cup, and it seems to still have an effect.
Yeah, that's
some
insane.
distance away from the unit. Here we're about 5 or 6 or 7 feet away. It's still spinning around. We're probably about 10 feet from the rodent coil now, and the magnet's still going, so
Wow.
still rotating, and there's no power to the unit whatsoever.
Yeah, but how much of that is just from its own inertia? That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, if it's just from its own inertia, it would stop instantly. Like it would only spin like it would only spin a few times, and then it'll slow down. I've experienced that when pulling it out of my coil. Once it gets outside of its once it gets out of its influence, it just stops. It's insane.
Really?
It's like a point where it just kind of like fights itself almost, like that boundary.
This guy's still going. Oh, he says power off now? How,
Yeah, that's power off.
how do you know when the power's off? This is the whole time it's power off?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, yeah, see how it dies.
Died down. Okay.
Wait, I want to see what
And
he
then
said.
it just dies.
When did he say power off? Wait.
Neo ball.
He said it at the beginning when he had the cup inside the coil.
Okay, I'm gonna do this whole thing. I want to see the text as well. So.
Oh, hi, this
But
is
you
Jack.
have
I
to
wanted
put
to follow up and
You have to put the sphere inside the coil to start it, I imagine, to synchronize it fully with the pulse, and then you could probably pull it out.
Okay, so here his power is here. No, but he's connecting the power. No, he says power's off later, not now. That's
yeah, he probably powers it on to spin it up inside, and then
for the little neo ball
once
spinner.
it's synchronized.
Oh, hi, this is Jack. I wanted to follow up and show you how isolated this thing really is. So the power here. So let's connect the power up for the little neo ball spinner to get the thing going. Okay, so there it goes.
Okay.
There's the neon flashes sometimes, and there's the power light. And so okay, so now I can show you disconnect the power.
Okay, there, power's off.
Yeah, disconnected the power. Now I'm going to pick up the cup. Picking up the cup, and it seems to still have an effect some distance away from the unit. Here we're about 5 or 6 to 7 feet
Imagine
away.
that being in your electric scooter, and every time your scooter powers off, or every time you know, you pulse your scooter, you can actually get power on the off phase. So it's off and it's still spinning your rotary to spin your tire, saving energy. So imagine that. Like, you can create a really efficient system that way.
Yeah, but also just for show, like just showing people, hey, it's spinning and turning off. Like, what in the world's going on here?
Right.
Like, I just demonstrated. Like, this is okay.
Well, it's simply an effect you won't see anywhere else.
That's the thing.
And
that's something I'll do. That's another part. If you ever have time, let me know and I'll send you some money and you can send me a Roland coil or a Ben coil.
I am going to make a couple of coils. Eventually I will send one to you when I get one. Yes.
Yeah, because I'll buy one. I'll buy one off because I do.
But I want I want to send out some of these lightning thief PCBs to people who have coils. So if you have a coil, I can give you, you know, the lightning thief to mess with as well.
Well, I'll send them both. So right now, so you said you open source document everything. Well,
yeah, 99% of everything.
Because my goal is to replicate again the Hudson effect. So I put on my website mes.fm/UFO. So this is from the Hive blockchain, but I just drag it into my own website. So this is my article. So and I made an article on Wednesday. I published basically all my progress. I bought this Tesla coil, recommended by Grok AI.
Nice.
And here's the stats. The Tesla coil arrived this date. Like this is the level of detail I'm trying to show you. Like imagine Daniel Nunes did this. Okay. And then on March 26th.
Well, it's good to document everything you can.
This one on March 26th, I almost like fried my ears here. I put a video, and I got the Faraday. I was gonna make a Faraday cage. I got the mesh. I got this, and then I got the pet fence, and I wrapped it around. And then Claude AI told me. Actually, no, it's Grok. I'm moving over to Claude now. But I got this grounding wire, and here's the grounding the clamps, and now here's the grounding wire outside the house, so I gotta connect to it. Anyways, and then I have ads as well. That's AdSense, so make some money off that. But yeah, so that's pretty.
You test your ground too to make sure it's properly grounded before you do that as well. Because sometimes fucking, especially if the building is older, they'll have like shorts sometimes.
Yeah, I'll test everything. Everything's almost burst my eardrums here. This one I almost bursted. I could play the video here. Listen to the video. On a live stream. Look. Oh, I see some sparks, guys. We did it. Watch what happens. Oh, my ears!
Oh yeah, you shown that to me.
Because I have this, but then you see a slow motion of it.
Oh, that was absolutely painful.
So you can hear a Tesla coil with these earphones, and then once you do a high voltage zap, the ear vibrates this and destroys it. Watch it.
Right, because it's creating a field that's interacting with the coil and your speakers.
Yeah. Well, also the copper in here or the coil, whatever's happening. But watch this right here. It's like, okay, now it's a slow motion. You can see the spark. Oh, and there's me yelling. Yeah. Because remember this.
I'm surprised you didn't hit the floor and fall down.
Yeah, that was absolutely. But the good thing is you can feel, like you can hear it, so you know it's on, and then you go close.
And then I got electrocuted once, and it like literally flew me back in my chair because it had wheels on it. Like literally, like I flew back like 3 feet in the chair. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's next level stuff. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna save this video. This one's a good video. I might even re-upload it. That's pretty cool. This is the this is Jack's. What's his name?
Jack Scholes.
Oh man.
SHOU. I think SHOULZE.
Shoals.
I gotta go in a minute,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to emphasize that I am going to release the Impulse Driver to everybody, but for those who are Patreon subscribers, like paid subscribers, I am going to release that early for you guys as a thank you. And the Impulse Driver tutorial, how to build it, and the circuit, the new circuit that I built, is going to be available on my Patreon for paid subscribers within a couple of days, I'm anticipating. Okay. So if anybody wants to help, fund my research, the best way you can do that is going over to Patreon/BeneficenceTV.
Is it you call it Patreon? I call it Patreon. Is that
Patreon? Well, tomato.
yeah. No, you can tell you have an accent or where
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where's the Patreon? How do you Beneficence TV? I'll send a link in the thing.
Yeah.
This is the
Beneficence. Yeah.
Okay, Beneficence TV, and I will send the link out to everybody. Guys, right here, just publish, then subscribe to his Patreon for exclusives, for early video, etc.
Yeah, I took a hiatus from Patreon. I haven't really uploaded in a while, but there's a lot of stuff that I have planned for the near future for the paid subscribers. So
that's good. You have 20 members. I think I have like 3. Mine's like, just give me some money for
well, most of them are free members, but because I do have a lot of free content on there as well.
Okay, that's great stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna publish this. I'm just gonna save the notes part here just for my sake. Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty epic. Anything else you want to say to the audience? I'll open up this thingy here. A lot of comments.
Just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and thank you for the opportunity to come back on a live stream and talk about my work.
Yeah, and if you can replicate that distance thingy, then tell me how to do it, and that'll be quite.
Oh, we're going to try. Like I've been really itching to try to solve that problem for basically this entire 2 years that I've been working with these systems. So it's one of the things that's top of my priority. So I will, and it's not like when I do these experiments, most of the time I'm doing them live stream. So it's not like I'm, doing a lot of this in the background. A lot of times that I'm discovering stuff, it's live on stream. So, you'll see it when I, start experimenting with the synchronicity again. But I have another coil that I need to build first before we continue that. I think we're going to build a more delicate, more geometrically symmetrical and precisely placed geometry for the coil.
Oh, sounds good. Okay. Yeah. Looking forward to your work there. And so for the 9/11 live stream again, you're welcome. But for that one again, I'm warning you. Dr. Judy Wood needs to be like up to speed on her work because I don't want to deal with similar when Nancy was cursing me. I have to.
Listen, I've watched every presentation Dr. Judy Wood has given, and that's available online. Everyone in full. Of course, I'm gonna read up on it again before the live stream, but I was obsessed with her work for a long time. So I think it would be really great to talk about some of that stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then and also she might also be laughing at Bob Greener too, so just prepare yourself. Yeah, but it's gonna be pretty epic there. Yeah, there'll be a lot of celebrities there. All right, Chris checked my email. Yeah, I saw an email you sent. Playlist right here. Pete, he said something in here. Oh, player's narration sketch idea. Yeah, definitely. I'll check it out. Anyways, that was great. I'm gonna close the stream and then we could have you can say something private if you need anything. How do I get to the stream? Okay, guys, that's all. Thanks for joining and have a great day, guys. I'm gonna end the stream.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, this says thank you, Beneficence and chat and all. Okay, and adios, guys. And stream is done, and I'm gonna stop recording, guys. So.